kí n tó relocate nínú yàrá mi ńbẹ̀ mo máa wo irú nǹkan tíya Ìyábọ̀ ń go through. Ṣébi tí mo ti play video tó fi ní irun funfun àwọn lélẹ́yìí. Ọ̀pọ̀ nù yín nìyá yín náà jìyà lórí yín, ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀ fìyà yín ṣírò. What is religion? What is Christianity if it is not humanity? What is Christianity? What is humanity? Mo tún gbé yẹn síta. Ẹni ṣé ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà nìkan ló ń wá kìíní àwọn siblings ẹ̀ ńkọ́? Ẹ̀yin olórí burúkú aláyébàjẹ́ yìí. How did we get here that we are no longer humans? Mo wá pòwe kan fún wa pé bóyá ọ̀pọ̀ nù yín tún máa ní ọpọlọ, ẹ máa ní ẹ̀mí Ọlọ́run nínú. Kí dẹ̀ lòwe tí mo pa fún yín wípé èèyàn kan ló ń bímọ, igba èèyàn ló ń wò. How I was raised was through community love. A máa ń sunlé ara wa. Mo tún pààyàn lówe fún yín pé Ìyábọ̀ ẹ̀ mo mọ̀. Ọ̀rẹ́ mi tá a jọ lọ UI ó fi mẹ́sẹ̀jì lẹ́yìn pé Rotimi mo rí pé òun sọ̀rọ̀ nípa Ìyábọ̀ kíní kan jọ pé mi immediately tí mo ṣe náà mo ní ní ìmọ̀rúkọ méjì mi yàtọ̀ sórúkọ yìí mo pè ní fídíò call straight ni ó dẹ̀ gbé ó láwọn tí mo gbọ́ ń jọ yẹn mo ní mo mọ̀ Ìyábọ̀ ní my two kíní kan ní kéèsì yìí kí n tiẹ̀ má wàá mọ̀ Ìyábọ̀ gan-an. How many times lẹ́yìn tẹ́ ẹ fún mi ní excuse yìí pé ṣé mi ní family Ìyábọ̀ ni? How many times ni èèyàn ti ní health issues rí tẹ́ ẹ gbé wá sórí social media pé káwọn èèyàn help ẹ ní ìtẹ́mi náà ti donate several times? How many times làwọn èèyàn ti ní accident tẹ̀dẹ̀ wá sórí ẹ̀yà àìrò ayélujára ẹ bá ṣe kíní kan? How many times ni ọmọ ti sọnù ọ̀ tí wọ́n máa rí yàn he pé ó wà unconscious ọ̀ pé bóyá ó kú sáàrin ọjà tẹ́ ẹ máa post ẹ̀? How many times? And finally, torí wípé ó ti wá jẹ́ prophet Olúalọ́ that is your favourite, the truth. The truth can no longer be said. Ìyábọ̀ is not supposed to be spoken for. Some of you now said, Rotimi, if you really want to do this, go the legal way, go the kinikan, ṣe báyìí, ṣe gbá, ṣàwo. Some of you said it because you felt that Ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà deserves the right to still relate with her own daughter tó jìyà fún. The siblings have the right to know her whereabouts. Ọ̀pọ̀ nù yín ń sọ torí wípé ẹ feel wípé ọ̀nà máa dí mọ́ Awíkoko àti Fàájà movement. If we go that route, you were right. But ọ̀pọ̀ nù yín wá ń sọ ó ní kan náà tó máa lóhun support wa òun ṣe àmà bó ń jealous ni ó bí kan ni ó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní sọ rádaràda káàkiri lórí social media ká lóun lòun á dùn kése láàrin ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì ọ̀sẹ̀ mẹ́ta òun á ti ṣe parí ẹ̀ pàápàá. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin aṣèrè olórí burúkú ṣé èmi ń báyàn kankan ṣe competition ni sì ń bẹ́ẹ̀ gbà tẹ́mi bẹ̀rẹ̀ liberation mi ìmọ̀ yàláyà yín rí. And as a matter of fact, Oluwalo is not the only person that is being questioned by. There are other pastors who can pick up their cases. But torí pé mi ń wá relevance, èmi ń wá followers, èmi owó orí social media. Èyí ṣòṣì kiri. Àwa wí táìwì, how can you be a Fàájà member and still be using the name of Jesus to make money? How does it work? Àwa wí táìwì ó jáde ní wípé from henceforth ìwọ kì í ṣe Fàájà member mọ́. Who accepted, who recognized you as a member of Fàájà in the first place? Then àwa gbé ìgbésẹ̀. kí ló dé tí mo lo ẹni tí òun àti Tọ́pẹ́ jọ lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ Ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà. Wọ́n náà play voice note kan níbi tí mo ti sọ fún wípé kí Ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà pariwo sí àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà ẹ dúró náà ní orí live orí videos orí Yomi Amzat how many times wọ́n ti ní pé ẹjẹ́ pariwo sáwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà káwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà gbà lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Adégòkè how many times ni wọ́n lo ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn. If the lawyer told me pé Ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà and the family must show that they are ready, they want to go all the way, kí ni ẹdúróná what is wrong in telling them to tell Ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà pé ẹ pariwo sáwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà Awíkókó alone cannot do this. Olórí burúkú aṣèrè ọ̀pọ̀ nù ní ẹ̀dẹ̀ ṣì wà ní comment section náà tó yẹ pé ẹ máa rà rìn rà ni ìjọ ebi bá ń pọ̀nà báyìí lẹ́ẹ̀mọ̀ rìn kẹ́ ẹ mọ̀ sùn lọ́wọ́ báyìí ìjọ tẹ́bí bá ti ń pa ọ̀nà báyìí lẹ́ẹ̀mọ̀ jáde lékú lọ́wọ́. Àdàbí tó bá jẹ́ wípé mò ń ṣe láti bàyàn kankan lórúkọ jẹ́ tí ì ṣe pé torí pé kínú Ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà lè dùn kan tó jáde láyé ni. A ṣe èrè olórí burúkú ẹ̀yin Kristẹni tẹ́ǹpẹ̀rẹ̀ ayé ní pásítọ̀ irú Tèmítọ́pẹ́ tẹ́ẹ̀lì accept láti help all of a sudden on your pages Tọ́pẹ́ became a pastor Thompson. Ṣẹ́rípa iye Tọ́pẹ́ yẹn nìkan kọ́ ló bàjẹ́ ẹ wá lọ síbẹ̀ mo dẹ̀ ń sọ fún wa iye tí mo ná láì gba kọ́bọ̀ lọ́wọ́ ìyá láyé nìkẹ́ni iṣẹ́ tí mò ń ṣe ni mo fi ń sponsor nǹkan tí mò ń ṣe. Àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan dìde pé Mr. Rotimi ẹ lè mọ dá ṣe sẹ́ ẹ fún mi lákàá details yín mo fẹ́ send owó síbẹ̀. Now I set up 2 people from kí náà ń pè Èkìtì síbàdàn èló náà ń gbé mọ́tò ok mo fún wọn lówó ẹni pé mo bribe Ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà or mo bribe Major Ogbe kírú mi máa bribe Major Ogbe kí n máa bribe mi ṣé rí mi dẹ̀ ní ṣe. What is wrong pé ẹ fẹ́ lọ bárù ìyá báyìí ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí Ọlọ́run ẹ bá mi fún wọn níye báyìí kàn fi ṣe pocket money Major Ogbe náà ẹ bá mi fún wọn níye báyìí ẹ má bínú o tí n bá fẹ́ bribe yẹn á jẹ́ 30k 20k ibi tẹ́ ẹ ti máa mọ̀ pé lórí burúkú ló pọ̀ jù nínú gbogbo ẹ rí i pé mi tí ẹ dá sí látijọ́ yìí ọ̀rọ̀ tó sọ báyìí nígbà tó yẹ pé lórí burúkú yín àwọn ní owó tó ń wọlé sápò gbogbo ẹ̀yin pásítọ̀ ẹ̀yin nìkan lè ń dáná ẹ̀ ní ojú àánú rárá so ó máa ń strange sí yín tẹ́nìkan bá dìde tó bá lòun ṣàánú gbogbo bíkíbi tẹ́ ẹ̀dẹ̀ ti náwó àwọn èèyàn sí ibẹ̀ ni gbogbo ẹ̀ níbànújẹ́ máa gbà wọlé sí yín lára. Wọ́n wá jáde wọ́n ní pé Awíkókó ń bribe èèyàn bribe. And as a matter of fact Major Ogbe sọ wípé àwọn ló yẹ káwọn mọ fún Rotimi Daniels Foundation lówó pé Rotimi kọ́ ló tún yẹ kó mọ fún àwọn lówó ẹ bá ń ṣàdúrà wọ́n ṣàdúrà ilẹ̀kùn. Now àwa gbé ìgbésẹ̀ yẹn nígbà tí wọ́n fi máa lọ lálákọ̀ọ́kọ́ lẹ́tà méjì ló yẹ ká mú lọ kí wọ́n sáìn ẹ̀ ẹyọ kan tí wọ́n tún wá ṣe ládùúrú owó tá a ná Tọ́pẹ́ yìí ni wọ́n fi ìwé yẹn lé lọ́wọ́ pé kó mú wá sẹ́kọ̀ọ́ kò kàn yá rádaràda lásán ó tún fi epo yìí tó yẹ pé kò ṣeé lò. Àṣé gbogbo ògbà yìí làwọn tó pera wọn ní online kìíní àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ bí ọ̀tọ̀ tàbí ọ̀rẹ́ àṣé wọ́n mọ̀ọ́mọ̀ ń plant ara wọn sórí péèjì wa ni. Ọ̀pọ̀ nù yín máa ní Rotimi ó ṣe ó ti lè trust èèyàn jù kíni nígbà tí mi ìbá ro obi sọmọ làkejì báwo ni mo ṣe lè rò pé mi ìfẹ́ gbé life mi bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn. Yes, you are right, but I don't want to live my life like that. What I can't do to people I can't expect them to do it to me. That is the only why I trusted the person like Tọ́pẹ́ tó jẹ́ ọ̀daràn. Ẹ wá jẹ́ ká gbà pé wọ́n ríṣẹ́ yẹn ṣe ń gbà yẹn ibi tá a dé ìkọlà máa ti dé ọ̀rọ̀ á ti jù báyìí lọ. nítorí ẹ gbogbo ìgbà tí ọ̀pọ̀ nù yín ń pariwo go legal way take him to court tán lè involve àwọn ọlọ́pàá ṣé ọlọ́pàá máa ń ṣiṣẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ní Nàìjíríà láì ní paperwork ẹ̀yin kan jákujàku yìí. kéèsì fámìlì yín tó wà ní tọlọ́pàá how many years lẹ ti wà lórí ẹ̀? a tó bọ̀ sí kéèsì Olúalọ́tà ń sọ lọ́wọ́ pé provide wherever lóṣù kan ẹ fẹ́ jẹ́ kí Awíkókó kó máa mú result jáde lójú ẹsẹ̀. gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń béèrè àwẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ orógbó, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń béèrè ẹ̀jẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ ọ̀gbìn, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ní wípé ẹ̀mọ̀ dìde ẹ̀mọ̀ ràn mí níṣẹ́ dé tòrutòru, àwọn ọmọ yín ni ó mọ̀ jáde tán ní délé pépé èyí tó bá máa wálé rárá. Elédùmarè bá wa gbégbèsè yẹn torí wípé ó ní gbogbo ọpẹ́ ògo àti ìyìn. àríṣe níbo dẹ̀ lọ̀rọ̀ gbé dúró dé báyìí tó fà á tá a fi sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́nu ẹ jẹ́ n sáré ṣe short live video kí n tó lọ ṣe gbogbo ohun tí mo fẹ́ ṣe. níbi tí ọ̀rọ̀ gbé dé dúró báyìí Elédùmarè ti bá wa ṣe débi wípé Olúalọ́ ò ní option kankan mọ́ ju wípé ó gbọ́dọ̀ wá sọ fún ìjọba through àwọn ọlọ́pàá pé òun bá yàwó òun jà ní o ọ̀ nǹkan kan ṣe ní o ọ̀ báyìí báyìí o. ọ̀rọ̀ ti débẹ̀ báyìí. so tẹ bá ń rí wípé Awíkókó pipe down díẹ̀ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Olúalọ́, it is because the issue has gotten to a very good level. mo tún wá ń fi àsìkò yìí torí pé wọ́n ní pé yìnyínyìnyín kẹ́ni ó ṣe mí, gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọlọ́pàá Nàìjíríà pátápátá tẹ̀ ń fi òótọ́ ṣe tẹ́ ẹ̀ ní wá lára lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí, ìnira ò ní bá wọn mọ́ yín. gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọlọ́pàá tẹ́ ẹ tì wá lẹ́yìn wípé òótọ́ lẹ̀ ń sọ lórí Rotimi Daniels Foundation tẹ́ ẹ̀ jẹ́ ó ní wá lára. mo máa kọ́kọ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bàbá mi IGP Ẹgbẹ́tókun, kí n wá dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ẹ wà ní Ìbàdàn, Èkìtì, Èkó, Ògùn tẹ́ ẹ̀ ń fi ọmọnìyàn ṣe. a dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. Rotimi Daniels Foundation ń dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. torí irú ẹjọ́ báyìí tá a bá gbé wá bóyá mindset àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà ni pé in tó jẹ́ kí àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà máa sọ wípé Rotimi ò ní owó lọ́wọ́ láti pursue nǹkan tẹ́ ń sọ yìí, wọ́n sọ. But Nigeria police proved everybody wrong by allowing us to be able to do what we should do as ọmọlúàbí. And on this note, I am appreciating every one of you. I appreciate all of you. Ọkọ ọba àdàbà ò ní ṣayín lẹ́sẹ̀. Gbogbo ìgbésẹ̀ tó yẹ kẹ́ ẹ gbé lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí níbi tó dé yìí. Nigeria police, Elédùmarè ó mọ̀ bá wa fún yín ní ọgbọ́n ìmọ̀ tó yé ẹ̀. kàkà kọ́nà ó wá kílẹ̀ òkú ilẹ̀ ó yà ṣá ni, ọ̀nà ò ní dímọ̀ yín, ayé ò ní mú yín. ẹ ṣe yìí tó máa restore hope àwọn ọmọ Nàìjíríà sínú Nigeria police again. torí wípé àparò kan ò ga jù kan lọ àfi tó bá gun orí ebè. Olúalọ́, when you post on your social media pé Daddy Falana Chambers wọ́n send the letter sí me and everything, I wish at that time either the letter was true or even not true, torí wípé Daddy Falana ò lè fault wa lórí wípé à ń béèrè odidi èèyàn pẹ̀lú ọmọ mẹ́ta. Daddy Falana ò lè sọ wípé a ti béèrè jù, kò possible. wọ́n á yà sọ fún ẹ wípé kó o lọ dáyà Ìjẹ̀ṣà náà kó o lọ fẹsẹ̀ létọ́ ni. Torí wípé mo ti sọ rí pé nínú nǹkan tó fún mi nígboyà lórí ìrìn àjò yìí was ìjọ tí mo rí fídíò Daddy Falana ní celebration, wọ́n wọ súùtù báyìí, wọ́n jókòó sétí àga níbi tọ́rọ̀ yẹn kan lára. Ẹ̀yin mélòó lẹ rántí fídíò yẹn tí wọ́n ní pé Adébóyè is building business centers and not churches. Another video in which he was putting on native tí wọ́n wọ lemon native. He said pé church is supposed to ṣe kìnìkan. They are not supposed to be private pé ó wá yọ owó church ó wá fi lọ ṣe private business. Pé ṣe rántí plane tí airplane aircraft pastor kan tí wọ́n mú tán fi ṣe passenger train flight kìnìkan. Irú àwọn bàbá bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn làwárí láwùjọ tá wò pé tí àgbàlagbà when he already has everything anybody could wish for, tí wọ́n sì dúró tán ń jà fún ẹ̀tọ́ ọmọ ènìyàn, àwa jẹ́rú èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn ló gbé wá ló ní pé kí wọ́n kọ lẹ́tà tẹ́ ẹ lè produce. Olúwa, how long more do you think you want to hide? Sister Maureen tún sọ àwọn kan lánàá, èmi ò mọ ibi tí Sister Maureen tiẹ̀ tún rí mọ́ information yìí. Allegedly wọ́n tún lóbìnrin kan wà tó tún sanwó fún. Allegedly wọ́n náà gbọ́ lórí péjì bí Sister Maureen, bóyá àwọn tó wà ń bẹ̀ bóyá tí n bá gbé wọn wá sókè. But gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ Nàìjíríà tẹ́ ń gbọ́ wa nílé àti lóko, yálà ẹ mú advice yẹn wá based on the truth that you have always wanted, based on humanity, or because you feel that Awikoko can never go ahead to get to this point, irrespective of which class you belong. I am happy to tell you today that we will not be able to say much deeper than this due to some reasons. But àti gbà fún àwọn ọlọ́pàá pé ó di dandan kí wọ́n ṣiṣẹ́ wọn bí iṣẹ́, la ṣe ń fi àdúrà ràn wọ́n lọ́wọ́ báyìí torí wípé wọn ò jẹ́ kí ìgbésẹ̀ tá a gbé kò ní wá lára rárá. And I think this particular issue will start making Nigerians to restore their hope in a better tomorrow of Nigeria police. Mi ní sọ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn lọ ná for now. Mo Samuel, ẹ jẹ́ kí n gbé yín sókè. Mo Samuel. Okay, Adéyínká Aláṣàdúrà.
Ẹ kúlé everybody, ẹ kú ọjọ́ mẹ́ta. Ṣé dáadáa la bá yín? A travel ni, a ṣe ìdí ni.
Báwo ni ìyá?
Ibi tí èmi tí wọ́n kọ́ fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ní ọ̀sán yìí ni pé ó wà l'Ábùjá nígbà tí wọ́n ẹnìkan àlẹ́ ẹ̀jẹ̀ ní kó fi nǹkan sínú Fanta fóun nígbà yẹn, Crest fóun gbà yẹn kó fi rape òun. Ṣé nígbà tí kéèsì yẹn tó le, do you know what Bíọ́dún Fátóyìnbó did? Kó fi rape òun. Ṣé nígbà tí kéèsì yẹn tó le, do you know what Bíọ́dún Fátóyìnbó did? Ó ẹ̀jẹ̀ bá wa mú tu.
Now, ó yẹ kó ti mọ́ wa lára lórí live videos now.
Do you know when it got to a stage, you know what ó step down as a pastor?
Mo rántí.
Ṣé rántí ròtẹ́?
Adéyínká bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Mo rántí.
Ó step down. Àwọn tí ó ti jẹ́ pé nǹkan tó ṣe ń gbà yẹn ó padà. Ṣé rántí ròtẹ́?
Adéyínká bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Mo rántí.
Ó step down. Àwọn tí ó ti jẹ́ pé nǹkan tó ṣe ń gbà yẹn ó padà sọ̀rọ̀. Ó ń wá odindi èèyàn, ìyẹn kó lórí burúkú wọn jẹ́ ìjókòó sí ibì kan. Tálárọ̀ ọba ní kó da fẹ́yìn pípọ̀ ọlọ́sàn-án ò ní jó da fún yín.
Àṣẹ Èdùmàrè.
Kó balẹ̀ báyìí ní labalábá fi rìn o. Ẹ rìn gbogbo ẹni tó ń sọ̀pọ̀tì àwọn pípù yìí. tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá tẹ ẹ̀rọ nǹkan kan wọn ọ̀rọ̀ ìwo orí ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà níbi tí ìyá yẹn ti ń sunkún ẹkún yẹn lásán ó lè jẹ́ kí ìyá yìí kó sùn kó má jí mọ́ ẹ̀yin kan wá jókòó síbì kan ẹ wá ní kí ló kàn yàn bẹ́ẹ̀ tí màá ṣe pé ní ìlú Nàìjíríà tó jẹ́ pé wickedness yẹn I just came back wọn rí bí àwọn èèyàn ṣe wà wicked tẹ̀yìn ẹ̀yin pásítọ̀ yìí tẹ̀ ń sọ pé Ọlọ́run ló pè yín tẹ̀ ẹ kọ̀ láti má ṣiṣẹ́ owó onírú owó aláta you need to see the way people are suffering in Nigeria ẹ ń wá gba owó yẹn tán ẹ wò lásán kọ́ ló fi ń gba nǹkan lọ́wọ́ àwọn people yìí ojú lásán kọ́ wọ́n wá gba owó yẹn tó bá wá di ọjọ́ kínní ẹ̀ wá máa pẹ́ ẹ̀ wá máa jọ Sunday ẹ̀ wá ní kọ́ lọ́ máa kó owó wá ẹ̀ wá máa ṣe ìsọjí oríṣiríṣi ìyẹn dúró lápá kan wọ́n ní wọ́n ń wá odindi èèyàn pẹ̀lú ọmọ mẹ́ta I remember ngbà tí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ò bá máa di yánpọnyánrin báyìí I remember mo ní kinní yẹn lọ́wọ́ he said I've written it here only I will get back to you díẹ̀ ní he never get back àbá ọlọ́ṣẹ́ ń sọ program yìí ni after that náà lọ́jọ́ gbéra wọn lọ sí Canada pẹ̀lú Bísí Aláwìyé tọ́nà ń ṣe ìsọjí ń bẹ̀.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
ẹ̀jẹ̀ feel wọn ní human feelings yẹn pé odindi èèyàn la máa ń wà yìí torí pé wọ́n ní agbára torí pé wọ́n ní ẹsẹ̀ torí pé wọ́n ní lọ́ọ̀yà ṣé bàbá Fálànà yẹn with due respect sir Ọlọ́run ló dáná ẹ wá fi bàbá Fálànà yẹn wá fi ń threat because he is a senior advocate of Nigeria. nǹkan tó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà yìí wọ́n gbàdúrà kírú ẹ̀ kó ṣẹlẹ̀ sí àárọ̀ ọmọdọ́mọ yín àti gbogbo àwọn ọmọ yín obìnrin ó ń kọ̀rọ̀ yìí lówe ó jẹ́ wàá fẹ́ máa lárónú ẹni tó bá ti sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí ẹ̀ dìde tì í ní pé kí ló kàn bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣé mọ̀lẹ́bí ẹ̀ ni yíyẹ mi sí bó ṣe ràrìn rà bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni gbogbo ọmọ yín pátápátá obìnrin ní kankan báyìí lẹ́ máa ràrìn rà because condition tí ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà wà kò hun obìnrin yẹn bẹ́ẹ̀ tọ́wọ́n bá tẹ̀ wá lè sọ̀rọ̀ torí pípa wọn lẹ́nu mọ́ torí threatening wọn làwọn people ṣe keep quiet kọ́ má bà lọ pa wọ́n mọ́lé where there is no security tó yẹ pé Ọlọ́run ló bá nìkan ló ń ṣọ́ wọn. dènà àwọn olórí burúkú kan náà ni wà nínú CAC yìí náà tó jẹ́ tún support anyway mẹ́ta lèmi pé CAC tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ of recent mo ìṣègbọ́n pé wọ́n ní márùn-ún ni wọ́n. in fact nínú body of CAC yìí wọ́n tún yìí ń bára wọn jà wọ́n náà wọn kan ló gbé Rotimi Danes Foundation dìde.
imagine.
yes pé àwọn kan ló gbé Rotimi Danes Foundation dìde táwọn ènìyàn jẹ̀kẹ̀ wọn ò jẹ́ mọ́ wọ́n mọ̀ mú ẹsẹ̀ wọn ò mọ̀ kankan pa ẹ̀ pé àwọn lọ sí pé àwọn CAC apá kan báyìí àwọn kan ti Ìbàdàn àwọn lọ́ní kọ́ máa bá àtàwọn apá kan báyìí jà why tí mọ̀ dàrú ṣe wá wà ní body of Christ CAC for the ẹyọ kan lámọ̀ CAC tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ àfìgbà táwọn kan dé tọ́ pé àwọn kan ní tọ́bádàrè àwọn kan ní ti bàbá bíára àwọn kan ní ti Ẹ̀sìkáyà.
wọ́n wá pínra wọn káàkiri wọ́n ń ṣògo lórí ayé.
mẹ́ta tèmi mọ̀ nìyẹn mi ìmọ̀ méjì tó kù ọ̀nà ti pé 5. go online now gbogbo àwọn pásítọ̀ yẹn in fact nǹkan tí mi ṣe wá ń dùn ni pé ìmọ̀ wọn ò jọ kan mọ́ ní CAC wọ́n á bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí tákù ara wọn CAC for them orúkọ kan lọ́jọ̀jọ́ ń jẹ́ àwọn kan support bàbá ọlọ́ àwọn kan ò support yẹ but àwọn tí ò support yẹ àwọn ló pọ̀ jù tó máa wọn sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí ẹ ti mú èpè ẹ ti kì í mọ́lẹ̀.
ẹ jẹ́ kí n thank you so much Adéyínká ní jẹ́ kó sú wa ní jẹ́ kó rẹwà we are resolute on telling Olualo please we need you to allow Iya Ìjẹ̀ṣà to speak with our daughter we need the siblings to speak with our daughter ó tán n tá n béèrè fún nìyẹn thank you so much mo Samuel ṣe wà ń bẹ̀.
mo wà ń bẹ̀ káàsán.
yes.
ẹjọ́ èpè ni màá kọ́kọ́ fi wọlé sórí ìwọ user 7919575 kò ní dáa fún ẹ ṣòbóbìnrin nìwọ náà tó bá ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní bímọ báyìí sórí nǹkan tí Ìyábọ̀ ń go through òun ló máa go through nǹkan tí Ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà tó ń go through lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ báyìí òun ni ìyá ẹ̀ máa go through sórí gbogbo ọmọbìnrin tó bá bí àtàwọn ọmọbìnrin táwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ bá bí ní lineage yẹ nǹkan tó máa go through nìyẹn do you think we are joking here o rò pé à ń ṣeré ni àbórí ẹ̀ dàrú ni ṣé wọ́n rán ẹ wá síbí báyìí ẹ ṣá blocking jàre obìnrin tí lọ́sọ̀ fún sọ látàárọ̀ wọ́n ń wo ẹ̀ràn sórí ẹ̀ ṣó ń ṣe èrè ni àbórí ẹ̀ burú ni àwọn olóròpó olówá bá ń bì báyìí ṣòro pé bunch of fools tẹkọra yín sí church ní olóròpó wá bá ń bì báyìí ni we are very resolute we are resilient we no dey joke we no dey play please. Audi, I would appreciate you first. Thank you for your resilience and determination on this case because it's been so frustrating, you know. Frustrate but Elédùmarè ò jẹ́, and I thank all the guys, the invisible fighter evangelists in the house. I thank you so much because there are lots of people working underground that don't want anybody to see them. They support, they do everything. Yes, they are the one pushing this thing. I thank you so much. Ọlọ́run náà máa dílé àti ọ̀nà yín mú. Ọlọ́run ò ní jẹ́ kó mọ gbogbo wa ṣìrìn. Olúwa àtijọ́ wọ ṣòkòtò kan náà o. Because you have to produce Ìyábọ̀ and the kids. Tó kàn kó gbogbo èèyàn ní kí tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní da ayé rú oríṣiríṣi stories because this is getting deeper by the day. Because there are a lot of things that I don't even know. Mama gbọ́n àwọn nǹkan mi ìbá orí mi á dẹ̀ máa gbóná. Ẹ wá pera yín ní ara Olúwa. Ẹ wá kóra yín jọ sórí TikTok. Àgàgà ayẹni gíga. Ẹ kóra yín sórí TikTok. Ẹ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní sàn kọ́ tó ju yín o.
TAC kìíní kan land maybe land of mercy or something ìrántí ibi tí mo send sí káwọn èèyàn mú orúkọ church ìtàgbé síta.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ ni. Wàá bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní máa parọ́ Ìyábọ̀ wà ní Canada ṣé bó mọ bí tí Ìyábọ̀ wà ó máa gbé Ìyábọ̀ jáde.
Máa gbé jáde bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
Orógùn ìdí nǹkan tó rógùn òfin lè kọ tí òfin lè kọṣẹ́ tó fi korí bomi gbígbóná bó ṣe máa rí fún ẹ náà nìyẹn. Òwò ń sọ pé ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà jẹ́ ni ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà òun ló ń da fámìlì ẹ̀rú ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà ló ń ṣe kinní kan Ìyábọ̀ ò sọ ìwọ bá Ìyábọ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ because lọ́jọ́ tó ń sọ ọ̀rọ̀ òṣì tó ń sọ yìí àwọn guys kan wá láti CAC youth bóyá youth leaders ni wọ́n or something wọ́n wá sọ̀rọ̀ yìí pé bàbá nǹkan tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ ní CAC yìí ò dáa ẹ sọ fún Olúalọ kó gbéyàwó ẹ̀ síta pé wọ́n ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ ṣe retreat tán ní France and àwọn béèrè pé ṣé ẹ rí mọ́mí GO and they confirmed to them that she was not there so ẹjọ́ ṣàìbò ni ìyá wa nínú Olúwa wà. The next thing tí Ayẹni Gíga máa sọ was that she now lives in Canada. Yes, Ìyábọ̀ can live anywhere. But I mean, ṣé tí yàn bá fọmọ fún yín bó ti ẹ̀ jẹ́ ajá landlord mímí orí mo sì fẹ́ bèrè ẹ̀ pé ẹjọ́ bọ́lá ajá yẹn wà. Ká má ti sọ dídé èèyàn àtọmọ mẹ́ta. She doesn't have to come here. Ẹ jẹ́ kó bá ìyá ẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀. Ayẹni Gíga bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní sọ ó ti bá ìyá ẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ ó ti ṣe kinní kan. Ayẹni Gíga máa gbọ́ mi báyìí o. I no send anybody. Olúalọ́gan make it dey hear me now. Ẹ máa produce Ìyábọ̀. Ó sì nǹkan tẹ́ máa ṣe ẹ máa produce Ìyábọ̀. Ayẹni Gíga ìwọ ló sọ pé wà ní Canada. Ó máa connect wa mọ́ bí tó wà Ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà in fact inú Ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà máa dùn. Then gbogbo àwọn bloggers tán ní kinní kan ṣẹlẹ̀ dẹ̀ ń pakọ̀ wàhálà tí yín nìyẹn. Because mi ò mọ bí tí Sketch àti Tribune tó ti lọ ń bá Guardian tó lọ ń bá olúkálùkù máa ń ṣe investigation ẹ̀ ni. If you want to do your investigation please go to Ifaki. The obeys are there. Go and ask them questions. Stop telling lies. Stop saying rubbish. Stop saying what you don't know. Because gbogbo yín máa wá síbí máa ń ṣe máa sọ̀rọ̀ maybe we are too slow. Yes, we are here. We are very intelligent people. We don't do our things anyhow. Our man set kini wa na dem amu target wa. Akimofo. That's why you feel it's too slow. We are not doing the right thing. We have to get our acts together. Because the machine kan kawa don't know. Kawa lo create loopholes. So only feel we are not doing anything. But we are closer than ever. We are because everywhere am red. We are not joking. We are fajama fighting body journey. Ìyábọ̀ must come out and we must be liberated. Tó bá yàn sìn ma sọ ọmọ èṣù ni wá yes o ilé bàbá mi ò sí ní Israel. Ọmọ èṣù ni mi mo gbà mi ò dé sápamọ́ ṣe ìṣẹ̀ṣe. Wọ́n ní àwa ń sin èṣù. Àwa lọ síbi kan a lọ ń ṣe ẹ̀là kan a lọ ń ṣe kíní.
Péjì máa la dáradára. Débi kíní tí mo rà ní Ghana ní February yìí àti kíní. Wọ́n ní wípé.
ó ní àrùdì kó kinní kan sọ́rùn gbogbo wa pé àlọ́kọ ni àlọ́kọ ó tẹ̀ túbú wa lórí péjì Maureen Bádéjọ pé gbogbo àwa tá àlọ́kọ àwa tínú wa ò dùn tá ní happy home tá mọ nǹkan kan nípa marriage àwa là ń sọ̀rọ̀ là ń béèrè lọ́wọ́ òjíṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run my foot pé káwa má dárúkọ Jésù mọ́ mo ti sọ fún kó níṣó sí court kó gbé Jésù ẹ̀ dání lọ sí court yẹn tó má ti gbé Jésù ẹ̀ yẹn dání lọ sí court gbogbo wa máa pàdé ń bẹ̀ because I've tried to ọmọ Yorùbá ni mí ò ṣe ọmọ àlè Yorùbá bàbá mi kò ní lé sí Israel mi ò mọ̀ rí Àkókò ni mo ti wá l'Ondo State and don't know anything about Israel tí kò bá jẹ́ pé wọ́n brainwash wa náà torí wa ò pé náà a máa sọ pé Jonah sùn sínú ẹja fọ́jọ́ mẹ́ta oyún ẹ̀mí mímọ́ what does it mean in Yorùbá kí ló mean tẹ́nìkan bá lówó because I can't even imagine my son nísìnyí kó ti fẹ́ marry kó wá sọ fún mi pé ọmọ fiancé òun ti lóyún then I will still go ahead ìdílé àkójú Joseph yẹn má pé àbí kí àwọn family kí Joseph gan má ní family because I can't advise my son to go ahead with that kind of thing èèyàn wá gbé wa sórí kí ni ẹ bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní ṣépè fún wa èyí ń sọ everything and you don't want us to curse you if you curse us we will curse you èpè òjò èpè lọ́kọ́ lókàlùkù máa mú tiẹ̀ ni ẹni tó bá ti ṣe nǹkan ìpele pé máa dá àfi tó bá yẹ pé agbowó lọ́wọ́ obese family nìkan ló dẹ̀ wá kù àfi tó yẹ pé we are trying to bring Olúwa down nìkan lè pé yín máa mú wa but tó bá yẹ pé we are doing this because of humanity then gbogbo èpè yín ó máa padà sórí yín ó máa padà sórí ọmọ yín ẹ máa padà ṣẹ̀sín náà ni in fact on this social media ẹ máa ṣẹ̀sín lójú ayé ẹ máa ṣẹ̀sín everywhere ẹ ti máa ṣẹ̀sín ẹ wá sọ pé wọ́n bribe èèyàn ṣé 30,000 wọ́n fi ń bribe èèyàn sórí yín pé ṣá wọ́n fi 30,000 bribe èèyàn wọ́n fi 20,000 bribe èèyàn ìyẹn gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìgbà tẹ́pà kúṣẹ̀ yín ẹ̀ kúkú ṣiṣẹ́ ẹ máa jókòó síbi kan wọn máa dá owó fún yín owó onírú we work here gbogbo wa la níṣẹ́ tá à ń ṣe so we can't even engage with any intellectual capacity to hold any debate or anything with us so àti ẹni pé kò sẹ́ni tó dá yín lóhùn gbogbo àwọn blogger àwọn tó bá jẹ́ pé ìlú òyìnbó gan ò ní ṣe mù mo máa ń wo àwọn míì gan wọ́n ṣe wọbẹ̀ gan wọ́n ṣe débẹ̀ tán bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní post oríṣiríṣi nǹkan tán bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí ní sọ oríṣiríṣi nǹkan we don't care o ariwo ọjà ní gbogbo yín we don't have time Olúwa lọ́la bá ní business tábàdẹ̀ ti bá ní business wà tán gbogbo ẹ̀yin ṣọ́nbọlé yọké ẹ̀yin ẹgbẹ́ alábòsí tó ń pé nǹkan tí wọ́n pè yín sílẹ̀ máa ń dá sí then we would come for you ẹyọ kọ̀ọ̀kan báyìí la máa wá fún yín everything is mo ti sọ fún yín pé everywhere máa red and we are not joking we are fàájà máa fàájà ni ẹ lọ máa korúkọ mi ẹ lọ trace mi whatever tẹ bá fẹ́ ṣe tọ́nà mo bá ti gbé mi sí nínú ọwọ́ kò sí kò tẹ̀lé ṣe.
ó ti tán
ṣé jàre
thank you so much there is no going back mo sọ fún mi wípé nǹkan ẹ̀ ń fà yìí bí ọmú èṣù yìí ẹ má wọ̀rí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ bá fẹ́ pè wọlé látòrí YouTube àti Facebook ẹ jọ̀ọ́ máa máa ṣe ní 2 minutes torí láàrin 30 minutes nsìn mo fẹ́ parí live video yìí ọlọ́run á bá wa ṣe bóyá máa padà wá lọ́la ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí ọlọ́run 2 minutes +234 lórí WhatsApp from YouTube or Facebook if you want to call in +234 809290 6250 máa pè lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí you want to quickly contribute on what is going. Please, the WhatsApp number to eye me on so that I can call you is going to be +234 809290 6250. BB Star. Oh yes, sáré bá mi gbóhùn sókè. Ẹ sáré bá mi on mute kẹ́ gbóhùn sókè.
Ẹ káàsán gbogbo lé o. Ìbéèrè kan mo tẹ̀ fẹ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ìyá Rotimi. Ṣé ẹ̀yin lẹ dìsẹ́jì Fẹ́mi ni tí Fẹ́mi ṣe fẹ́ tó fẹ́ kú sí yín lọ́rùn báyìí? Tó gbó péjì ọ̀rọ̀ yín ló ń fún. Ilẹ̀ dìsẹ́jì ẹ̀ tẹ̀ wá fẹ́
tó bá ti gbé fọ́tò mi sókè ẹ lọ wo gbogbo post ẹ máa rí pé tó bá ti gbé fọ́tò mi sókè
tó bá ti wà ọ̀rọ̀ yín ṣàlù máa ń sọ kò mọ̀ pé tí ó máa wà lórí láì máa gbọ́ báyìí Fẹ́mi fìbọ̀dá Rotimi lọ́rùn ọ̀lẹ́ fẹ́ wọ́kọ̀ síwájú ṣèyẹ lé ní lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Olúalọ́ gbogbo kan láti rí lóríṣiríṣi ẹbí ẹni sọ̀rọ̀ tó pọ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ bọ̀kọ́ ẹkùn mo fẹ́ ẹ bá wà discourage bá fún yín àwọn olórin akéwì àti ètí aṣọ oníwò tó fi jó lẹ́nu tọ́kàn jábọ́ lẹ́nu bó ṣe ń kọ́ tí ò tẹ̀ ẹ̀dùn adìyẹ́gun ò lè gbọ́ ẹjọ́ máa kọ́ lọ ẹjọ́ máa sọ lọ èpè tó bá jẹ́ orílẹ̀-èdè lọ ẹ ti sọ̀rọ̀ pa tó bá jẹ́ pé torí owó lẹ ṣe nìkan ló kù o but tó máa ṣe tó meditation tó jẹ́ pé kọ́ ká lè rí ìtúsílẹ̀ lẹ ṣe òun nìkan lè pín wọn máa mú yín ibẹ̀ ẹ máa ṣe là àwọn à ń tẹ̀lé yín ibi tó máa já sí àwọn afẹ́ mọ bẹ̀ a dẹ̀ pé kí ló máa já sí woman kan sọ̀rọ̀ àwọn tó ní wọn sanwó fún woman kan sọ̀rọ̀ ó ní wọ́n pè Ìyábọ̀ Olúwa ló lọ síbẹ̀ ó tilẹ̀kùn mọ́ ẹ̀ẹ̀mejì ó ti mọ́ta kò jẹ́ kó rọ́mọ ìyá ẹ̀ wá sọ fún pé tóun bá ti rọ́mọ òun láàrin ọ̀sẹ̀ méjì òun kọ́ lòun ní àwọn ọmọ yẹ òun dì sóònù wọn ibo lọ ti rí bá sọ̀rọ̀ ìgbà tí wọ́n tilẹ̀kùn mọ́ ẹ̀ ṣe jẹ́ ká rí pé wọ́n tilẹ̀kùn mọ́ ẹ̀ ṣe jẹ́ ká mọ̀ pé òun ní ọkọ ọmọ jáde ṣé èèyàn á máa gbé bí àwọn ló ṣẹlẹ̀ ṣé èèyàn á máa gbé pé wọ́n wá òun kó wà ní abẹ́ ìwòlẹ̀ ṣé kò ní sọ̀rọ̀ jáde pé mo wà ń bí ẹni ó bá ẹgbẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ akọ ní ìyá jẹ́ ní ìyẹ́ òní kò ṣe bá yẹ sọ̀rọ̀ òun bá ẹgbẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ ṣe bá gbọ́ndún láìvè èèyàn kan tó ní òun ò rí bá sọ̀rọ̀ sí ọgbọ́n kí ni àwáwí àtàmọ́ ni wọ́n wí ibi tẹ́yìn lọ òun ní kẹfẹ́sì ọ̀rọ̀ tọ́pẹ́ ẹ̀pà tí tọ́pẹ́ tì sẹ́gbẹ́ kan ìyẹn ti lọ ẹja mú mi ètò bá wà lẹ́bàá ẹja fèsì ẹ̀ ipa máa fẹ́ Olúwa lọ́lẹ̀ kò pọ́sibú àfáwálẹ̀ afẹ́bí tí ìyàbọ̀ wà èèyàn ló bí ìyá ètò over 80 ìyá ọmọ máa sùn ní ìbànújẹ́ ni ọmọ ní kó sọ̀jọ́ ọmọ ní ìrùn náà tó bá kú àti gbàkádà pọ̀ òun ti kú adẹ́kọ̀ọ́jú máa tó kù ọmọ wà láyé ibo ló wà ìbọn ọmọ ẹni ilé rẹ ni ẹ jẹ́ kí ìyá ẹ̀rọ ọmọ ẹ̀ náà àbí gbẹ̀yìn níyàbọ̀ ẹ jẹ́ kó rí ẹ ṣe ẹ̀gbọ́n mi.
ẹ bá ń sọ fún Fẹ́mi Tóyìn pé ayé ìgbà tí mo máa ń sọ́kẹ́ẹ̀tì káàkiri free ó ti kọjá tá a bá dàgbà ààyè ogun jà káláyé ìgbà tí mo ṣì wà ní Ṣàngó Òde ni irú Fẹ́mi Tóyìn yìí á jẹ tiẹ̀ á gba wòtòwòtò torí ó dà ìgbà tó pé obsession yẹn ti pọ̀ jù báyìí tí n bá dẹ̀ rí evidence lójú oorun àtọ́jú ayé wípé wọ́n Fẹ́mi Tóyìn òun fi fọ́tò mi tàbí fídíò mi ó fi ń kọ́m màá sú ẹ o sì máa fi ṣe gbogbo eléyìí tó ń ṣe ní orí ẹ̀rọ ayélujára ìjọ tí n bá lọ rí evidence pé òun fi fọ́tò mi tàbí fídíò mi ó fi ń kọ́m tí ẹ ti bàjẹ́ o tí ẹ ti bàjẹ́ mọ́ ti tilẹ̀ nìyẹn o tó mọ̀ mọ̀ pé tí ẹ ò da náà tẹ́lẹ̀ mí ní sọ jù yẹn lọ tí wọ́n bá gbé àlá yẹn wá ọ̀ bóyá mo lọ lálàrí ẹ lásán ó wá fẹ́ lọ máa fọwọ́ ra mi lára wo o ò ní find ẹ̀fọn ní o irú ẹ̀kọ́ ni taste mi yẹn náà even my taste because normally náà tí n bá tiẹ̀ fẹ́ ni mo fẹ́ bárú ẹ̀sùn tí n bá ní mo fẹ́ bárú ẹ̀sùn sí ṣé pẹ̀lédè tó wà lẹ́nu ẹ̀ yìí ló fi máa káràmásìkì tí n bá ń jù fún ẹ ń Fẹ́mi Tóyìn ayé ẹ ti bàjẹ́ o iyì Yorùbá ò gbọ́ dáadáa iyì èyìnbó ó dàbí ìgbà tó bá ń lá lẹ́mọ̀ tó tẹ́yà bá tiẹ̀ ń juṣẹ́ fún ẹ gan báwo ló ṣe fẹ́ máa yàtá ṣé wàá máa wá fẹ́ dèdè wo ló fẹ́ fi yàtá lábẹ́ mi ara gan máa kú olórí ibu ni ẹ ojú orí pé mi ìgbé ẹ sórí péjì mi rárá mo mọrú yín ẹ ń chase clout ni ṣe kárí ni méde náà sí àìdédè òun ló ń ṣe ẹ mọ́ bínú. Hello.
Bluetooth mode.
Hello. Ẹ mọ̀ ká rọ ọ̀bẹ.
Ẹ káàtàn o ní Nàìjíríà mo ti ń pè yín.
Ok ma.
Hello sir.
À ń gbọ́ yín.
Hello.
À ń gbọ́ yín.
Wá jẹ́ kí n mọ̀.
Hello. Olórí Ọmọlára ṣẹ̀wá ń bẹ̀ ó yẹ sáré bá a gbóhùn sókè. Ẹni yìí wà mí. Hello
sir.
Hello à ń gbọ́ yín.
Ẹ jọ̀ọ́ èmi ni mo send message sí yín tí mo sáré kọ nọ́mbà yìí lọ. Mo fẹ́ sọ àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ kan lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ̀ ń sọ lọ́wọ́ yìí. Mo máa ń join program yìí gan. Mo ṣe get nọ́mbà yìí.
Ok ṣé tá a bá parí live video lẹ fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ ni àbí ẹ fẹ́ sọ nísìn?
No, mo fẹ́ sọ lórí social media lẹ fẹ́ sọ lórí.
Ó yá ẹ bá wa sáré gbóhùn sókè torí time. À ń gbọ́ yín.
Ok ṣé rí nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ sọ ni pé mo máa ń join program alẹ́ mi tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀.
Ok.
But láti gbọ́dọ̀ tí ń sọ̀rọ̀ yìí tí mo jẹ́ kí ń kọ́ lórí mo wà discouraged honestly. Because gbogbo àwọn pásítọ̀ tá a mọ̀ wọ́n máa ń provide ìyàwó wọn.
Wọ́n jọ ń lọ
Ilé tí ò lè provide ìyàwó ẹ̀. Fún ìdí èyí ìtọ́wọ́ tì mí mo jọ yín I'm telling you.
ẹ ṣé ìyá mi.
mo dẹ̀ láwọn pásítọ̀ kan tí wọ́n fẹ́ sọ fún yín tó yẹ kó lórí burúkú ni wọ́n ìkọ́ ti dẹbí mi irúfẹ́ náà ló jọ wá. wọ́n pọ̀ ní Nàìjíríà gidi gan ni.
ẹ ṣé ìyá mi.
wọ́n pọ̀ gidi ó fẹ́ lu àbúrò mi ọlọ́run ló yẹ wọ́n máa pè é tẹ́lẹ̀ parí program.
kò sí wàhálà
mo máa forúkọ ẹ̀ fún yín.
kò sí wàhálà
máa sọ tó wà fún yín kẹ́ gbé síta kẹ́ pariwo ẹ̀ síta.
ká pariwo ẹ̀ síta bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹ ṣé kò sí
wọ́n pa
wàhálà
àwọn èèyàn jájọ́.
ẹ ṣé.
kí ló dé tí ọ̀nà provide ìyàwó ẹ̀.
ó sú mi o.
ẹ fà á dáadáa kó já.
ẹ ṣé ìyá mi.
ẹ tó bá provide ìyàwó ẹ̀ kí tó believe nínú ẹ̀. tí ọba provide ìyàwó ẹ̀ nípa ìtòní gan máa bá yín jà gan ni.
ẹ ṣé ó gbúdọ̀ ṣe ẹ ṣé a máa sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́yìn ìsìn ẹ ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ni. ẹ jẹ́ kí n tún já wa sí ọ̀rọ̀ kan. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń gbé fọ́tò oríṣiríṣi obìnrin káàkiri pé ìyàwó Olúalọ ni. Ǹjẹ́ jẹ́ mọ̀ wípé lábẹ́ òfin gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹni tí ó máa ń travel out dáadáa, at the time wọ́n á ti béèrè lọ́wọ́ Olúalọ rí pé ṣé o single àbò marry, ani married, ó lórúkọ ẹni tó kọ síbẹ̀. Ṣé ẹ rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń gbé káàkiri, mo tún fẹ́ help yín ni gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọlúàbí tèmi jẹ́. Tẹ́ bá ń gbé káàkiri pé ìyàwó Olúalọ àpá ó ṣe kinní kan ó wà báyìí ó ṣe kinní kan, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ nítorí Ọlọ́run ẹ má kó bá Olúalọ ní international level torí wípé irú nǹkan bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn bí ìgbà tó yẹ pé èèyàn ń parọ́, because he must first provide evidence pé òun ti legally divorce Ìyábọ̀ Yẹmisí Òbí torí wọ́n marry ara wọn ní ṣùlọ́kà ni. And as a matter of fact, Baptist pastor tó so wọ́n pa wọ́n sì wà láyé. So kò síbi tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ gbé ọ̀rọ̀ ìgbà tẹ́ ẹ bá Elédùmarè lé, àbàyàn kankan lórúkọ jẹ́, àdìfẹ́mù kárátẹ̀ ẹnì kankan, sọ pé o ṣe nǹkan kan. We are only pleading that to provide the whereabouts of Ìyábọ̀ Yẹmisí Òbí and the 3 children. Kì wá ṣe provision whereabouts wọn lásán nìkan, wọ́n gbúdọ̀ wà òkè ní ọkàn ẹ̀mí àtara, àsọjù yẹn lọ. You want to join us on this program on YouTube or Facebook? The WhatsApp number to reach me on is +234 8092906250. Olórí Ọmọlára ṣe wà ńbẹ̀, ẹ jẹ́ sáré bá wa on mute. Olórí Ọmọlára. Okay, Tọ́lá Adéyẹmí. Yorùbá dùn ṣe wà ńbẹ̀.
Mo wà ńbẹ̀ bàbá mi.
Ó yẹ sáré bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ sá.
Ok, èmi akíwa ní kí ọlá ìkí ìgẹ̀ ìkí tó lọ́lá jùlọ. Mo ṣẹ̀ làbọ̀rú ẹ̀ làbọ̀yè ẹ̀ làbọ̀ ìbọn ṣíṣẹ́. Àtúbà fún gbogbo àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá, àwọn ọmọ aládé. Ẹ̀gbọ́n mi Rotimi, láṣẹ Èdùmàrè, Olódùmarè máa fún yín ṣe. Rotimi Daniel Foundation, láṣẹ Èdùmàrè, wọ́n á gbóhùn ẹ̀ káàkiri gbogbo àgbáláyé àti gbogbo supporter of Rotimi Daniel Foundation àti gbogbo àwa Fàájà Nation.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Àníkú rèwerèwe. Ṣé rí lákọ̀ọ́kọ́, ṣé rí ọ̀rọ̀ Olúalọ ó ti di nǹkan tí èèyàn mójútó báyìí dáadáa torí pé kí ni eré làwọn èèyàn ń kà á kún pé kí ni ó máa tó rẹ̀ wọ́n máa tó sú wọn. Ṣùgbọ́n nísìnyí wọ́n ti rí i pé kì í sọ̀rọ̀ eré mọ́.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Nígbà tó Olódùmarè máa wá fi Olúalọ ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀, ó wá tún lọ bá senior advocate. Ẹ jẹ́ bá a mútu, ó tún wá lọ bá senior advocate tó jẹ́ wípé bàbá gan fúnra wọn gan, àwọn gan kí tolerate gbogbo rọ́bìṣì yìí.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Ìyẹn bàbá Fálànà wo tolerate gbogbo trash tó ń ṣe torí pé kí ni àwọn gan náà ti ń pariwo ẹ̀yin Christian yìí, wọ́n ti ń pariwo ẹ̀yin pastor yìí síta for some years back.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
So this is the kind person. Nígbà yẹn pé wọ́n ní tí kòkòrò tó fi ní ṣẹ̀sín góńgó orí imú nínú mọ́ tí ń múyàn. Nígbà tó Olódùmarè fẹ́ fi ṣẹ̀sín, ó tún wá lọ ṣútọ̀ rẹ̀ lẹ́sẹ̀, ó tún wá lọ bá bàbá náà. Bàbá ò ní sọ pé òun ní gba kéèsì ẹ̀ wọlé. Bàbá máa fẹ́ gba kéèsì ẹ̀ wọlé, but bàbá ló mọ nǹkan tí àwọn fẹ́ ké. Ẹ mọ̀, èyí máa ń gbẹ́jọ́ lọ kóòtù àdéhùn wọ́n wá padà jẹ̀bi tí wọ́n padà tì mọ́ ẹ̀wọ̀n. Ó wá mú ìrìnàjò rẹ̀, ó wá mú ìrìnàjò àti lu ẹ̀wọ̀n, ó wá mú ìyá kankan, ó mú ìrìnàjò àti tètè pírẹ́sẹ̀ǹtì sísá wa ó tètè mú rìn àjò yẹn yá kankan ìta ń béèrè fún òpọ̀ kò lọ jù a fẹ́ rí yàwó ẹ̀
pẹ̀lú àwọn ọmọ.
a fẹ́ rọmọ ìyá àjẹsà ṣàánú owó orí ọmọ ẹni kú ó sàn ju ọmọ ẹni sọnù lọ kí ló wà ń bẹ̀ kí ló dé ṣe nǹkan tó bá jẹ́ wípé ó ti lò fúnṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́ jáde sọ pé ó ti lò fúnṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́ ìyẹn ọmọ Nàìjíríà ìdáríjì mi wọ́n á forí jìn ẹ́ tó bá jẹ́ wípé òun pọ́nìṣọ́ ọmọ ọlọ́mọ ó tì mọ́nu yàrá kan ni ó ti sọ́ dídì rẹ̀.
bàbá mi Yorùbá dùn àti ẹ̀ sọ pé ó lò ó ní yẹ Ìyábọ̀ wà pa ó wà lálàáfíà as a matter of fact ẹ jẹ́ kí n fàsìkò yìí sọ fún wa kí n tó gbàgbé ẹni tó jẹ́ bàbá àsàlẹ̀ Olúaná ó tó àsìkò kí n dárúkọ wọn báyìí bàbá ẹyẹ bí ọ̀kín èmi àti prophet Tajudeen tí mo gbé kéèsì òun àti King Májẹ̀mú wá tí arákùnrin kan wá sọ̀rọ̀ wọn níjọ́ mélòó kan sẹ́yìn ẹ̀yin tẹ́ bá rántí.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
prophet Tajudeen bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ dáadáa prophet Tajudeen bá bàbá ẹyẹ bí ọ̀kín sọ̀rọ̀ torí wọ́n láwọn meeting kan èmi ò mọ ọ̀rọ̀ bòńkẹ́lẹ́ sọ tó bá ti di ọ̀rọ̀ pé à ń fi gbá kan bọ̀ kan nínú thank you so much uncle Wọlé Bùsọ̀lá. Now finally wọ́n wá ń sọ fún mi pé àwọn fẹ́ kí n bá bàbá ẹyẹ bí ọ̀kín sọ̀rọ̀ ok ẹ̀rù òbodò lèmi the next thing pé as a matter of fact bàbá ẹyẹ bí ọ̀kín fi hàn àwọn lórí fóònù wípé ní tá à ń sọ yìí ó rí rùmùrùmù ó ń lo mọ́tò ó wà pa gan-an Olúalókàn fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ ni ibi tán ti máa wá kó bára wọn lélẹ̀. If truly bàbá ẹyẹ bí ọ̀kín could have such evidence pé Ìyábọ̀ Yẹ́misí Òbé is all right then ṣé ká sọ wípé ọpọlọ yín lọ tàbí ẹ mọ tẹ́ ń ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí àgbàlagbà tàbí wípé ẹ ti gungi kọjá ewé iṣẹ́ ìránṣẹ́ tẹ́lẹ̀ gbà yìí ẹ ti ṣe débi wípé ayé yín ti bàjẹ́ that you could provide evidence on your phone that Ìyábọ̀ Yẹ́misí Òbé is fine yet you are finding it difficult to speak with her for her to call the mother and the siblings.
I don't get.
Gbogbo yín pátápátá oúnjẹ ọmọ ò ní jiná fún yín jẹ.
Àṣẹ.
ẹ bá mi round up bàbá mi.
now gbogbo nǹkan tí àwọn béèrè fún kò pọ̀ rárá kò lọ jù what is there pé ok o allegation tẹ́ fi ń kàn mí o ìyàwó mi o ó wà ní Canada o ó wà ní Cairo ó wà ní Egypt o kó o dẹ̀ múyàwó síta ó yá báwọn family ẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ báwọn ẹbí ẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ báwọn kò yé because ó kàn máa ń dà mí lórí nígbà tí àwọn kan bá ń handle kéèsì kan tó wá handle kéèsì yẹn tó wáyé pé kéèsì tí ò yẹ kẹ́tiẹ̀ tí ò tiẹ̀ ṣe nǹkan tó yẹ pé ó yẹ kó tiẹ̀ máa láyẹn lóògùn tó wá lọ láyẹn láàgùn for the past how many years now okay stand up and give us your wife your children let this wonderful woman talk to her mom ó di wàhálà ó di problem ó wá ń ṣe kíni ó wá ń sáré kídókídó kiri ṣé nǹkan mi wà ń bẹ̀ ni do you have any skeleton in your cupboard.
àwọn máa provide it question yẹn náà la ṣì dúró lé lórí.
do the needful ìwọ náà ń ṣe báyìí kò tún wá ń jẹ́ kí wọ́n máa fa àwọn yòókù yìí náà kó wá máa tígà àwọn yòókù ọ̀rọ̀ ló ń kómokómo rò wá ọ̀rọ̀ tiẹ̀ ń ṣe báyìí kò tí lọ́ fi ń ṣe kí ni ò tún lọ́ fi ń wù nǹkan tí ò yẹ ká máa wú ò tún lọ́ fi ń wú jáde. àwọn tó yẹ pé àṣírí wọn ti ń bò tẹ́lẹ̀ ọ̀rọ̀ tiẹ̀ ń ṣe ó tún wá ń jíjà wọn ó tún wá ń jíjà ẹ̀ sí báyìí àṣírí wọn ò wá bò mọ́ gbogbo pastors báyìí gbogbo ti ń sá kíjokíjo káàkiri. ẹ̀ sì bẹ́ẹ̀ ọkàn yóò ní balẹ̀ gbogbo ẹ̀jẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ àjọ ọkàn yóò ní balẹ̀ bálárẹ́ bá ní ó dáa fún alárò ní dáa kò ní tó yẹ ìkàlẹ̀ ẹ̀ ní kúkú rọrùn ikú gbóná gbogbo yóò kú ẹ̀ gbé nǹkan jẹgbẹ̀yìn ayé yín ni ó rí bí ó tẹ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ àwa tá a jọ mi gan àṣeṣe pé kí Yorùbá ò lẹ́sìn Yorùbá humanity ni Yorùbá ní humanity ó làwa Yorùbá ní mi ò nílé ní Saudi Arabia mi ò nílé ní Israel.
ẹ ṣé
bàbá mi ẹja
bàbá mi ní wá yín tì ẹ ṣé. Bọ́dà Adéyẹmí Bífàrí it is mo ń bọ̀ ọ́ it is unfortunate that kí ló ń ṣe àìmọ̀ ọwọ́ social media yìí gan wàhálà ni. It is very unfortunate that the house of refuge has been transformed to the den of ritualists. What excuse can anybody give for the disappearance of any human beings? Police, rather than RDF, should have taken up the challenge of unraveling the truth behind the disappearance of Enyameri and not chickens. RDF ought to be commended for championing this course of action. May God bless RDF and protect you, known and unknown, from known and unknown arms. Ẹ ṣé brother Adéyẹmí Búsàrí, mi ní wá yín tì. Àwọn ọlọ́pàá náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ wọn tí mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé Elédùmarè á bá wa fún wọn níṣẹ́ yẹn ṣe. Ìyáàfin ẹ wò okay. Bolly Fink ṣe wà ń bẹ̀, ẹ sáré bá mi gbóhùn sókè 2 minutes.
Ẹ ṣé bọ̀dá Rotimi, ayọ̀ yín ò ní dìbàjẹ́ ní ṣiṣẹ́ ṣe. Mo kí gbogbo Fàájà family o, lágbára àṣẹ Ọlọ́run Elédùmarè, àní tún ìdìbò sínú ìdè. Ire gbogbo ẹnìkọ̀ọ̀kan wá ṣojú wa, àní rí ń gbé sọnù bí ò ṣe bí ọmọ. Lórí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí, torí gbogbo ẹ̀ ṣe ń lọ. Even kó jọmọ ọ̀dọ̀ lèèyàn lọ mú láti ibìkan wá sí ibùgbé ibi tó ń gbé.
Wọ́n béèrè ẹ̀.
Tó ń dẹ̀ ní pé ìrìn àjò wọn àtọmọ ọ̀dọ̀ ò lọ mọ́. Á fà á léwọ́ àmú lọ báwọn tó ti gbà lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀. Ọmọ yín rèé o, ni ò fẹ́ mọ́. Ká tó ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wá sọ pé odidi èèyàn tó fi ṣáyà. Ìgbà tó ti wá jẹ́ pé ó kí o ká tẹ̀ wá sọ pé o ò lè rí mú. Kí ló mú ẹ Nàìjíríà ló ń gbé? Lọ bá àwọn fámìlì tó ti fẹ́. Ẹ dákun o, ọmọ yín yìí o, ọ̀rọ̀ èmi àti ẹ ò lè wọ̀ mọ́. Àti pé ìyá o, oníkálùkù ti ń lọ ìlọ tiẹ̀. Ìyá tó tọ́mọ láti kékeré tí ò bá jẹ. Ó wá diwó orí, ẹ wá ń sọ pé ṣáàyìn náà ò fẹ́ dàgbà ni. Ẹ wá ló lájẹ lọmọ ṣe ń sá fún ọmọ tí ò sá fún ìyá ẹ̀ láti kékeré. Ó wá dàgbà tó wá yẹ kí ìyá yẹn kó máa yọ̀ lórí ọmọ yẹn. Ẹ wá sọ pé ìgbà yẹn ìyá yẹn lájẹ kò fẹ́ bá ìyá ẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀. Ìyá tó bá sọ̀rọ̀ títí tó fi má rì. Ìyá tó bá sọ̀rọ̀ títí tó bá tọ́mọ kìíní, tó bá tọ́mọ kejì, tó bá tọ́mọ kẹta. Tí ò pa ọmọ yẹn jẹ, tí ò dẹ̀ pa àwọn ọmọ tó bí jẹ. Hábà, kí ló dé tá à ní ìbẹ̀rù Ọlọ́run? Mo gbọ́ statement tí bàbá yẹn make lẹ́nu jẹ́ mẹ́ta. Ó ní wọ́n sọ pé kó má jẹ́ káwọn èèyàn ṣègbé, ká má bàa parun. Ó ní ẹni tó parun kó parun. Ìyẹn ẹni tó Ọlọ́run pé òun ló sọ statement yẹn. Ṣé ẹni tó ní tó ṣiṣẹ́ tó kó iṣẹ́ jọ ṣó máa ń fẹ́ kí iṣẹ́ òun bàjẹ́ ni níṣojú ẹ̀mí òun? Má ní ẹ kọ́nà kó tiẹ̀ ṣe. Kí ló wà nínú pé ìyàwó ẹ̀ yìí à ń wá jáde? Àwọn ìgbà tí mo rí àwọn pictures àwọn tó ń ṣe kíní lórí social media káàkiri pé Ìyábọ̀ Òbí ti sọ̀rọ̀, ìyá máa tún sáré lọ síbẹ̀. Rubbish náà máa sọ délẹ̀. Ẹ̀ ní ríbi tó jẹ́ wípé wọ́n á ti sọ pé obìnrin yẹn sọ̀rọ̀. Even ìgbà tó ń parọ́ pé ẹnìkan jáde ó lóun obìnrin kan ní òun mọ ìyá yẹn, òun ṣe kíní kan. Mo suspect pé obìnrin tó létà gbójú ẹ̀ síta yẹn tó ń analyze nǹkan tí èyí tí wáìsì yẹn tó sọ. Mo ní bóyá obìnrin yẹn ló máa jẹ́ òun náà máa lò. Ta ni òun mọ tactics tí wọ́n ń lò these days? Ẹ lé èèyàn sọ̀rọ̀, ẹ gbébi tó ti sọ̀rọ̀. A ní afẹ́ rí káàtì ẹ̀ rí physical báyìí.
À ń wíru, wọ́n ń wíru.
Kó tiẹ̀ gbé jáde kó sọ̀rọ̀ pé ẹ̀yin ọmọ Nàìjíríà mo wà lálàáfíà o. Ọkàn everybody á balẹ̀. Inú ìyá yẹn gan á dùn.
Ẹnu wa dùn.
Ìyá yẹn ní ìgbà tó bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ ló faṣọ bojú. Ṣé ọmọ ẹni ọmọ á faṣọ bojú fún ìyá ẹ̀?
Ó fi powder bojú. Description tí wọ́n fún irú èèyàn bẹ́ẹ̀ bí ìgbà tẹ́ni yẹn ní gángan.
Kí ìyá má bàa dà mọ̀. Kí ìyá má bàa mọ̀ pé ọmọ tó ń kọ́ leléyìí.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Wọ́n fẹ́ fọ olúkúrú mu ṣubú ìyá yẹn lójú ni. Ìyá gan sọ níbẹ̀ nìyẹn wọ́n ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ ó rọra ń sọ̀rọ̀ bí ìgbésẹ̀ kìíní kó má bàa recognize voice ẹ̀ àbí èpè fẹ́ pa wọ́n ni.
Èpè ti ń pa wọ́n rẹ̀ dì wọ́n á gbé nǹkan jẹ láti níṣẹ́.
Kí ló dé tẹ̀ ń dá ọmọ ènìyàn lóró? Kó tí ẹjọ́ mẹ́yẹ gan tẹ́ bá fẹ́ figi pa níbi tẹ́ fẹ́ dá lóró ara sì máa ṣe yín bákan. Kí ló dé ká tún ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ máa sọ ipò ọmọ ènìyàn? bíi tiyín. Ìgbà tí ẹ̀rù àwọn máa nìyẹn ti bẹ̀ mí tó ti bà mí ni there is a man called Anderson tó jẹ́ PA Olúwalọ́tà ń sọ yìí òun ni PA ní arákejì yẹn man yẹn according to his story dàbí pọ́n ní bóyá kò bímọ I don't know man yẹn l'accident ó kú bàbá Ìsíkáyà ń ṣe program lọ ní èrè 21 days Olúwalọ́ ń ṣe tiẹ̀. None of them tó ti ẹ̀ ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ ni pé wọ́n mọ̀nà èèyàn tó kú lẹ́yìn ẹni tó wà nírú post bẹ́ẹ̀ yẹn as at that time. The program was going even that same day tí man yẹn kú tán announce yẹn the program was going fine lè rí pé at least àwọn èèyàn ti àṣe kọ̀tìkọ̀tì wípé èèyàn kan báyìí ó lọ láàrin wọn irọ́ o ibẹ̀ ni mo ti no something is going on.
Àgbùdọ̀ ṣe rí iṣẹ́ tọ́lọ̀ ń gbélé wa lọ́wọ́ yìí.
A tún ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ máa wá sọ ti Ìyábọ̀ àti ọmọ mẹ́ta odidi ọmọ.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Ó kúrò ní France ó lọ àwọn fámìlì àwọn kan lé àwọn fámìlì ẹ̀ wà ní Canada ṣé Canada wá jẹ́bi tó bò táwọn èèyàn ò lè rí ni. Àbí ṣé bí wọ́n dẹ̀ believe pé tí Ìyábọ̀ bá ṣe wà láyé pẹ̀lú gbogbo ariwo yìí tí Ìyábọ̀ wà òkè àbá ara gan máa níbi tó wà á ti voice out.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Mo believe pé that lady is not in good condition. Reason làwọn náà ṣe ń fi irọ́ bo irọ́. Àwọn agent òkùnkùn tán gbéṣẹ́ lé lọ́wọ́ tó ń gba iṣẹ́ ṣe lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Ìyábọ̀ Òbí. Ogun ọ̀run wá lù wọ́n lálùbọ̀lẹ̀. Àti ran àtọmọ wọn àtọmọdọ́mọ wọn ò ní jèrè wọn ò ní jẹ́ èèyàn. Bọ̀dá mi máa báṣẹ́ lọ. Ọlọ́run á tì yín lẹ́yìn.
Yes, ma. Yeah. Mo ń bọ̀ o.
Hello, Mr. Rotimi. Good afternoon. Mr. Akin ló ń pè láti Àkúrẹ́. Ẹjọ́ ẹ̀bá à ń pè sí àkíyèsí program. I always follow your program. Ṣùgbọ́n the only reason ó ní tí táwọn èèyàn complain fẹ́ kẹ́ adjust lórí ẹ̀ òun ni èpè. Ó ní alẹ́ ọjọ́ kan báyìí tí mò ń gbọ́ program nínú ilé bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń ṣépè tẹ́ ń sọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ ń ṣépè yẹn ìyá ọ̀gbìn wá jáde láti inú ilé ó wá sọ fún mi pé ọ̀rọ̀ tí máa ń sọ pé ó dáa wípé ṣùgbọ́n èpè yìí ti pọ̀ jù wípé náà àwúrò àwa tá a ní ọmọ kékeré sílé náà ń sìn pé kò dáa so gbogbo kí ni ẹ̀ peace off ó ṣàn bó ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ṣé ilé kí mo quit that program because of that ṣáájú irú nǹkan tẹ́ tí mo rí nípa program yìí nìyẹn gbogbo wọn tẹ́ ń ṣe ló dáa tẹ́lẹ̀ ń gba ìfọ̀ àti ṣe wọn láòfin mọ̀ yìí gbogbo wọn láòfin mọ̀.
Ẹni tó send the voice note sí mi ohun yín jọ ohun Kristẹni ìyàwó yín máa ń lọ sí church ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ pé ìyàwó yín lọ sí irú church Táíwò Òjó gbogbo àdúrà tí Táíwò Òjó ń gbà pátá lórí ọ̀rọ̀ pé ibi ni àwọn tó fẹ́ jẹ mí lógo àwọn kìíní kan most especially CAC ẹ̀ ń kó àwọn ọmọ lọ síbẹ̀ o níbi tẹ́ ẹ ti ń ba ayé àwọn ọmọ ọlọ́mọ jẹ́ pé èpè yìí ní ká máa gbà fún invisible enemies tẹ́ ń create fún wọn nínú body of Christ wọn ò ní problem ṣùgbọ́n Awíkókó ń sòótọ́ báyìí ó dẹ̀ believe pé ogun ló ń ṣi ni kó èpè ò kì í ṣi ni jà ìyẹn lẹ ní problem lé lórí ẹ ló bàbá mi sà mo fi tọ̀wọ̀tọ̀wọ̀ sọ fún yín wípé èpè yẹn ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ bẹ̀rẹ̀ ni sà 2018 2019 ká ní wọn lọ rìpọ́ọ̀tì Facebook pages mi tí wọ́n blọ́ọ̀kì mi tí n bá ń kó èpè àwọn CAC pastor tí wọ́n wá ń ṣẹ́ fún mi nínú inbox mi tí n bá ń kó wọn jáde ẹ̀rọ ọlọ́wọ́ báyìí tí n bá ń wúwo èpè pé mo ní ulterior motive fún nǹkan tí mò ń ṣe yìí ẹ dúró náà ṣé mo máa wà láyé lẹ́nìí tí wọ́n bá sọ wípé ọ̀pọ̀lọ́ ẹ̀gúsí ẹlẹ́gúsí kìíní kan ẹnu CAC pastor ni mo ti gbọ́ ṣé CAC pastor ń fi ẹnu lásán ṣé wọ́n fi ń ṣépè fún yàn ṣùgbọ́n torí wípé there is one father there is one Elédùmarè tí ìgbẹ́lẹ̀ yín alábòsí òun ló jẹ́ kémi Rotimi Daniel sì wà láyé dèní lẹ́nu nítorí ẹ̀kọ́ bàbá mi ẹ má bínú kì í ṣe dandan kẹ́ ẹ wo prógrámù mi kì í ṣe dandan kí ìyàwó yín wo prógrámù mi and as a matter of fact I am not apologetic to any single soul lórí method tí mò ń lò ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ mọ́ gbé náà ẹ̀ wojú ara wa ṣùgbọ́n ìyàwó yóò ní problem tí má gbé Psalm 109 síwájú tí mò ń play ẹ̀ tí tí mo gbé Psalm 109 síwájú tí mo fi ṣe ẹ máa ní pé ìyẹn wà available. How do you people do this? How? Ẹ bá mi sọ fún ìyàwó yìí kí wọ́n ka Psalm 109 àti Psalm 35. Ẹ ṣe Dimao, ẹ jẹ́ kí n sáré gbé yín sókè.
Orin ni máa fi wọlé. Ìpìlẹ̀ tí Daniel fi lélẹ̀ léyìí tí gbogbo liberator tán. Ẹ̀dá máa ṣe rò pé a máa kúrò nílẹ̀ àdúró lè fàjà movement fàjà ẹ̀yọ̀ liberator ẹ̀yọ̀ a fi ìpìlẹ̀ lélẹ̀ lórí òtítọ́ a fi ìpìlẹ̀ lélẹ̀ lórí òdodo. There are millions of Daniel. There are millions of Rotimi Daniel, and they are more tougher than Rotimi Daniel.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
So
kékeré sì ni títí tèmi bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
It is a movement, and it is not stopping. It's a train. If you to add Roma across here. As I always say, Captain, I don't know where the energy is coming from. God will continue to restore that energy. I know how it feels to live your time, to live. It is useful. And because working for humanity, nature will favor you.
Go.
Nature will protect you. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀yin gèsè kí Olúwa lọ má present ìyàwó ẹ̀ fún public. Mo sọ lágbára Ọlọ́run ẹ má ìkó nínú ọ̀rọ̀. Ẹ má jẹ ìkorò nínú ọ̀rọ̀. Ìkorò ní ìyá Ìjẹ̀ṣà ń jẹ nínú ọ̀rọ̀. Ẹ má jẹ ìṣẹ́ ní ọ̀rọ̀. Because the woman, she has labored, and the labor has come. Now this woman she's in poverty in wealth. But when you against
ẹ ṣé bàbá mi. Ẹ ṣé bàbá mi. Mi ní wá yín tì. Ìyáàfin Anike Adekunle, Nigeria, my country. They will not come out now, but if Iyabo Pai, they will be shouting justice for Iyabo àwọn wèrè. That is a very wonderful comment again from my Ìyáàfin Anike Adekunle. Thank you so much. Iṣẹ́ ó ti diṣẹ́ gbogbo wa. Tó Isaac Ojo ṣàṣẹ wà ń bẹ̀. Ẹ jẹ́ kí n tó gbé yín sókè. Mo fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ bàbá sójà kan tí wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ lórí live video Ayeni Giga. Mo fẹ́ dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ Global Prophet náà. Ó láwọn kankan brother Ọdẹ́yẹmí Tèmídire. Ó láwọn kankan tó jẹ́ pé even when I am not available on that live video, wọ́n máa ń dúró sórí òótọ́ ni. Mo dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé if so many people are standing on the truth, standing behind me today, the greatest thing tí mo lè ṣe láti fi disappoint gbogbo yín ni wípé kẹ́ ẹ wá gbọ́ pé Rotimi gba owó àbẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀ kan, ó fi kéèsì kan sílẹ̀. Kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀ láéláé. Kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀. I will never disappoint you. It has never happened. It will never happen. We stand on the truth. Nítorí ìdí nǹkan mò ń sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ máa ń ṣe wọ́n lẹ́ni tó ṣojú ẹni ò tó kò dàbí ẹni tó ṣẹ̀yìn ní gbogbo ẹ̀yin tó yẹ pé even when they are speaking ill of what we are doing lórí foundation àlọ́ ní àná ẹ máa ń dúró tán ni. Dá bàbá sójà mo ní fídíò wọn mo gbúdọ̀ post ẹ̀ later tí n bá ti ṣe tán tí n bá ráyè. He spoke the truth to Ayeni Giga. Wọn ò fẹ́ jẹ́ kí wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ ǹjọ́ yẹn. Somebody screen recorded and sent it to me. I listened to that video like twice. Sister Omotola Odedipe, thank you so much. Bimbolistic Joke, thank you so much. Mo really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Global Prophet, even you yourself, I know anywhere you are, you fly the banner high, you say the truth. Okay, nìkan tí mo fẹ́ rántí. Uncle Macho, mo really appreciate yín. Yes, you are a Christian, you don't deny that, but your being a Christian has never blindfolded you from speaking the truth to support humanity. Thank you so much. Mo really appreciate yín. Àti gbogbo ẹ̀yin tó kù tí mi lè dárúkọ torí time, ẹ ṣé, mo really appreciate yín. Brother Isaac Ojo, ọyẹ sáré bá mi lọ sókè.
So, ẹ ṣé gan ni.
Yes, sir.
Gbogbo akitiyan yín pátápátá, mo mọ̀ wípé Ọlọ́run fúnra ẹ̀ ni ó san yín lẹ́san rẹ̀. Kò sí ẹnikẹ́ni tó lè jẹ́ abiyamọ tí ó mọ fọ́ọ̀tì gbogbo activities yìí lọ́nà kọ̀nà. Ẹ tá bá rí ẹni tínú ẹ̀ ò dùn sí nǹkan tẹ̀ ń ṣe yìí, especially lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tí Olúwa lọ, á jẹ́ pé ẹniyàn ṣe abiyamọ gidi. Kò sẹ́ni tí wọ́n lè gbé ọ bó ajá èèyàn gan lásán kéèyàn máa wá kó mọ̀ níbi tó wà, ara máa tààyàn náà. So ẹni bá sọ wípé èpè tẹ́yìn sẹ́ pé ó ti pọ̀ jù, ẹni tí ò bá nìkan lẹ́bọ lẹ́rù, tí ò bá lẹ́bọ lẹ́rù ò yẹ kó mọ̀ bẹ̀rù èpè.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Béèyàn bá ṣe nǹkan èpè, bó bá ṣàdúrà fún àdúrà ò ní gbà.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Bí ó bá dẹ̀ ń ṣe nǹkan tí ò bá dẹ̀ ṣe nǹkan èpè, tí wọ́n bá ń ṣépè fún èpè ò ní jà. So èmi ò rò pé nìkan kan gbọ́dọ̀ máa sọ pé èpè pọ̀ ju èpè ò pọ̀ jù. Ta ni ó máa wá ọmọ ẹ̀ àtọmọ ọmọ ẹ̀? Káàmì gbogbo wọn jẹ́ mẹ́rin, kẹ́ni kínú ẹ̀ dùn, kó mọ̀ pé ní ìbànújẹ́ ni ìyá yìí wà báyìí.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Bí wọ́n ṣe pé ìpè ti sẹ́ra ẹ̀ already.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
So èmi kàn tún fẹ́ rọ̀ yín, ẹ tẹ̀síwájú. Torí wípé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tó ń wo prógrámù yín, 1 times 100 iye àwọn tí ó láǹfààní láti máa sọ̀rọ̀. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn tó ẹnìkan sọ lẹ́ẹ̀kan wípé wọ́n máa gbóyin káàkiri àgbáyé. Ẹ má jẹ́ ìtàn yín, kò síbì kan tó rílẹ̀ àgbáyé mọ́ tí orúkọ Rotimi Daniels Foundation ti dé o. Bí ẹnìkan bá sọ fún yín wípé ẹni kọ́ńtì kan wà tí wọ́n ti mọ̀ gbórúkọ Rotimi Daniels Foundation, irọ́ ni lórílẹ̀ àgbáyé tá a wà, kò sí. And mo fẹ́ fi dá yín lójú wípé this foundation has come a long way and it has gotten to a point of no return. So kò sí pé à ń padà sẹ́yìn. Because ẹ bá sọ pé because of intimidation or because of people are saying or what people are saying, ẹ wá fẹ́ máa relent or whatever, ìtìjú lè wà, ó lè wà láti kò tí ì sí no going back. Ọlọ́run á ràn yín lọ́wọ́.
Ṣé bàbá mi ní wà ní?
Ní ìgbà tí ẹ ti lọ́sùn yìí, àwọn ìgbésẹ̀ kan ti lọ. Mo mọ̀ pé ẹ fẹ́ fi gbogbo ẹnu sọ̀rọ̀ tán lórí ibi tí iṣẹ́ dúró, ṣùgbọ́n inú mi dùn. Mo ti kọ́kọ́ inbox yín gan lérí ọ̀rọ̀ lérí yìí tẹ́lẹ̀tẹ́lẹ̀, inú mi dùn wípé ẹ dẹ̀ sọ fún mi nínú inbox yẹn wípé iṣẹ́ ti ń lọ lórí ẹ̀. So inú mi wá dùn wípé iṣẹ́ ti ń lọ lórí ẹ̀ gẹ́gẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe sọ, Ọlọ́run á dẹ̀ ràn yín lọ́wọ́. Now wọ́n á fẹ́ bẹ̀ yín lẹ́bẹ̀ kan sí, ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má bínú gẹ́gẹ́ bí àbá ni o. Ṣé rí gbogbo àwọn tí ó bá ti ń sọ̀rọ̀ bóyá ẹ gbé wọn sínú bọ́ọ̀sì, ẹ má jẹ́ kán máa fi orúkọ bu ẹnìkankan láṣìírí mọ́.
Ó yé mi.
Fún àpẹẹrẹ, mo fẹ́ fi ẹnìkan pásítọ̀ kan ládùúgbò wa, báyìí ló ń ṣe nǹkan mo fẹ́ fi orúkọ bu láṣìírí. Rotimi Daniel yìí forúkọ kọ bu ẹni láṣìírí yóò sọ koro lójú ọlọ́rọ̀ ni. Kò sí tọ́lọ́rọ̀ ó sì tó bá ti ìdí òótọ́, orí òótọ́ ló dúró lé. Ṣé rí ẹni tó bá fẹ́ máa bọ́ sínú box tó bá ti fẹ́ máa sọ pé ẹ má jẹ́ kán máa forúkọ kọ bu ẹnìkan láṣìírí. Ẹni báyìí ní chọ́ọ̀chì báyìí ní àdúgbò báyìí nǹkan kan báyìí ló ṣe kẹ́ dárúkọ ẹ̀. Because sẹ́rí a máa forúkọ bọ̀ yẹn láṣìírí yẹn, ó sì tún fún wọn ní
lágbára
díẹ̀ láti máa forí mu síbẹ̀, láti máa farapamọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tí ó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ tí gbogbo nǹkan tó ń lọ yìí kò tiẹ̀ yẹ ká tó ráwọn òṣìṣẹ́ tí wọ́n pè àwọn olóṣìṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run tí wọ́n tún máa ṣiṣẹ́ ibi síbẹ̀ wọ́n sì tún ṣe síwájú ni. So ẹ jẹ́ ká máa dárúkọ wọn. Ẹni bá ti sọ wípé òun ò fẹ́ forúkọ bọ ẹnìkan láṣìírí, ẹ jábọ́. Kó sọ orúkọ ẹni yẹn, àwa kan wà tó pé a máa wá àwọn yẹn kiri, àwa bí tán gbé ibi owó tó wà tó bá dárúkọ kán dárúkọ ẹ̀. Ẹni tó bá ti dárúkọ yẹn yóò at least àwọn tó bá máa bójú òtí òun gangan, àwọn tó bá máa wọn á lọ bá pé ọ̀gá wọ́n mọ̀ dárúkọ yín lórí program, wọ́n mọ̀ dárúkọ yín, wọ́n lè ṣe báyìí. Irú ẹni bẹ́ẹ̀ ojú á máa tì í, ẹ̀rù àbá torí pé orúkọ ẹ, ṣùgbọ́n tí wọ́n bá ń forúkọ bò láṣìírí a ní kò sọ alóhùn lòun bá wí, inú bó tẹ̀ mọ̀ pé òun náà bá wí síbẹ̀ a máa lérò wípé àṣírí òun ò tí ì tú. So ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹnikẹ́ni tó bá ti wá sórí program tẹ́ bá ti gbé fàlàfàlà láti sọ̀rọ̀ tó bá súnmọ́ ẹ̀sọ́ ẹnìkan wá ẹ jẹ́ kó dárúkọ ẹni yẹn káwọn èèyàn ṣiṣẹ́ lórí ẹ̀ káwọn ẹbí àwọn tó mọ̀ kán lọ bá pé wọ́n mọ̀ dárúkọ yín lórí program Rotimi Daniel Foundation lórí Ìfàjà Foundation ẹ jẹ́ kí ká máa forúkọ bọ ẹnìkan kan láṣìírí àwọn táwọn forúkọ bò láṣìírí yẹn wọ́n sì tún wọ́n sì ń fi orí pamọ́ wọ́n sì
ń ṣiṣẹ́ bí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
So ẹ jọ̀ọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ kán forúkọ ẹni bá ti sọ pé ó fẹ́ forúkọ bọ ẹnìkan láṣìírí ẹ jábọ́.
omi nǹkan tí mo máa ń ṣe náà nìyí.
ká má forúkọ kọ bọ ẹnìkan kan láṣìírí ká máa dárúkọ. So ẹ̀yìn fẹ́ mú àbátẹ́mi fẹ́ mú wá nìyẹn. So mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín fún gbogbo akitiyan yín gbogbo ibi tó wù tẹ́yìn náà ti tán dé tẹ́rìn tẹ́ ẹ ní fojú sọkún ọmọ o ẹ ní rí dààmú Ọlọ́run á máa ràn yín lọ́wọ́. So
gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ máa ń rò wípé ẹ fẹ́ bá mi sọ̀rọ̀ pásítọ̀ kan ṣùgbọ́n ẹ fẹ́ dárúkọ ẹ nídìí láti send request ẹ lè send message sí mi lórí WhatsApp +234 810 433 2419 tàbí +234 80 9290 6250 inú inbox mi a máa sọ a máa mọ bá a ṣe máa gbé ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn jáde. Gbogbo ẹ̀yin tó jẹ́ wípé ẹ̀rù ń bà torí wípé tẹ́ ẹ bá sọ̀rọ̀ torí ibi tẹ́ ẹ wà RDF tún ṣe nǹkan kan ìwọ tó bá yẹ pé bóyá torí location tó wà pé wọ́n lè rán ayad kìíní sí ẹ àwọn agbénipa àwọn agbésùn whatever mọ́ bẹ̀rù tún wá bá wa sọ̀rọ̀ nínú inbox wa Elédùmarè ló gbé ètò ìkàlẹ̀ kì í ṣe èèyàn gbogbo yín lẹ mọ̀ Global Prophet ẹ jẹ́ kí n sáré gbé yín sókè.
ẹ rà bá.
Yes sir.
ẹ kú iṣẹ́ o.
Yes sir.
More grace, more power, more wisdom in Jesus' name.
Àmín o.
Iṣẹ́ yìí kò ní sun yín kò ní rẹ̀ yín o.
Àmín o.
Ọlọ́run á túbọ̀ fún yín ní okun àti agbára láti tẹ̀síwájú.
Àmín o.
Ẹ rí olórí nǹkan tó dáa jù láyé yìí òun ni kéèyàn máa sọ òtítọ́. Òtítọ́ ní ń lékè. Bá a bá sọ àákú bá a dẹ̀ sọ́nà ọ̀run là ń lọ.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
No matter iṣẹ́ kí iṣẹ́ téèyàn lè máa ṣe bí you a pastor àfáà ni o anything tí òótọ́ bá ti kó bẹ́ẹ̀ nonsense ló kù.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Nonsense ló kù ẹni iṣẹ́ tí a bá ń ṣe organization ni o country ni o tí tó bá ti kó kò sí kankan mọ́ rubbish ló kù.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Now ikọ́ tí mo fi fall in love pẹ̀lú program yìí ni òtítọ́ tó wà ń bẹ̀.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
Òtítọ́ yẹ gangan náà ni ká sojú abẹ́nìkò Yorùbá pa òwe kan àwọn àgbà sọ pé ogun ní í ṣi ní kó èpè kì í ṣi níjà gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́ẹ̀kan nípa wọ́n ń ṣépè yẹ ẹ̀sà yàrá ti ṣépè ẹni bá ṣiṣẹ́ èpè ni èpè máa lọ bá ẹni tí ò bá ṣiṣẹ́ èpè èpè ò ní dọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀ that is just it so ó bàbá tèèyàn jẹ́ sí tí wọ́n ń gbé ẹṣẹ́ pè èpè yóò lè dọ́dọ̀ ẹ̀ bọ̀ ìwọ tó ní ìwà ìbàjẹ́ kan lọ́wọ́ tó ń bá tẹnìkan jẹ́ náà so tó bá ṣépè ó ti mọ̀ pé wọ́n lè nọ́mbà wí so èpè yẹn máa fẹ́ tiẹ̀ òun ní gbogbo àwọn tó ń sọ pé wọ́n ṣépè yẹn so ìyẹn number 1 then number 2 padà sórí ti ọ̀rọ̀ prophet Olúwalọ ṣẹ́rí èmi sì ń sọ kinní kan ó ń rin prophet Olúwalọ ni kò tí ì jàjẹ́ ó sì ń rìn ni I'm telling you because èmi fídíò mi kan tí mo jẹ́ kó mọ̀ pé tí Yẹ́misí Òbé bá jẹ́ ẹ̀gbọ́n tèmi àbò jẹ́ àbúrò mi ọlọ́ngbọ́ àti jáde o gbogbo tó ń ṣe yàmàyàmà lèmi kà sí kí ló wà ń bẹ̀ báyìí ni o ibi ló wà o bẹ́ẹ̀ tí ẹ fẹ́ ra mọ́ kẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ ra mọ́ wàá sọ bí tí ìyàwó wà wàá sọ bí tọ́mọ wà everybody máa gbogbo kẹ́sì ọlọ́ngbọ́ kò yẹ kó dé level yìí rárá kò jẹ́ kó gbogbo àti settle everybody àti mọ̀ pé yes bọ̀ irọ́ ni wà ní ọlọ́run ní kí anybody má jà fún ẹ ta ló fẹ́ jà fún ẹ tẹ́lẹ̀ ọlọ́run wèrè wo ló ń jà fún ẹ ọkọ̀ fi yẹ gbogbo ẹni kálukú ọ̀ ń gbogbo orí ọlọ́run wèrè ọlọ́run ayé tiẹ̀ ọlọ́run ló sọ pé kó gbéyàwó pamọ́ àbí kí ló kọ́ ọlọ́run pẹ̀lú gbogbo nǹkan tá ṣẹ́dọ̀ bíbí ọlọ́run wọ̀ kọ́ ọ̀ ṣiṣẹ́ olúwa kankan mọ́ ọlọ́run òṣìṣẹ́ tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ olúwa kankan mọ́ because èmi ti believe pé anything tẹ́yà bá ti ṣe tí ò bá ti sí òótọ́ ń bẹ̀ rádaràdà ló dẹ̀ tún kù. Okay now òṣì radio station kò síyàwó ẹ̀ ń bẹ̀ ó ṣí kí ló tún ṣí ń bẹ ó ṣí ó kọ́lé tuntun ìyàwó ò sí ń bẹ kí ló tún ó tún ṣe ẹ̀kan náà ó ṣí Jesus City àbí kí ló pe bẹ́ẹ̀
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ó ṣì gbogbo àárín ọdún méjì.
kò síyàwó ẹ̀ ń bẹ ọwọ́ ọmọ ọjọ́ tó dẹ̀ ń tẹ̀lé náà ọwọ́ yẹn náà dẹ̀ ń tẹ̀lé bí gọ̀ǹgọ̀ṣù wọ́n kàn ń tẹ̀lé kò síyàwó lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kò sọmọ lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ ẹ̀ tí ẹ̀ fi jọ́kọ̀ béèrè pé òkè mọ́mì ńkọ́ ọwọ́ ọmọ ńkọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ yìí ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ti lọ fà gan tí wàá rí kọ́tẹ́mì kan tún fẹ́ sọ fún Rotimi Daniel Foundation ni pé Olúwalé ò lè jáde sí láti jọ́ta tí ń fa kéṣì kó wá jáde sí kó wá ní kinní kan in fact Yẹmi Sogbe ó gbúdọ̀ provide with sound health àlàáfíà gbúdọ̀ tó kò jẹ́ kó kàn máa provide ẹ̀ náà ó máa provide ẹ̀ gidi with sound health àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ gbúdọ̀ wà lálàáfíà òun náà gbúdọ̀ wà lálàáfíà ẹ fẹ́ ra mọ́ o family problem yìí nìyẹn but pé ó máa because ìyá tó dẹ̀ ń sunkún yẹ I'm telling you ìyá tó ń sunkún yẹ kì í ṣe ìyá Yẹmi Sogbe mọ́ o abiyamọ tó bá ti sọ pé abiyamọ gbogbo èèyàn ni ìyá everybody ní báyìí kò ń ṣe ìyá Yẹmi sí nìkan ìyá tó ń sunkún yẹ let's assume pé Ọlọ́run ní jẹ́ kí kọ́kọ́ ṣe ìyá yẹ kọ́ ló ń fún ìyá yẹ lẹ́mí gígùn bí ìyá yẹ ṣe ń sunkún yẹn sìn tó láìsàn àbí kọ́kọ́ ṣe ìyá yẹ ṣé ìgbà yẹn ló ṣe máa wá jáde ṣé ìgbà yẹn ló fẹ́ jáde ẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ Jésù ẹ̀ sọ̀rọ̀ pé Ọlọ́run kan ní ṣé kò tiẹ̀ rí omi jẹ́ ìyá yẹn ni kò rí bí ìyá yẹn kò tiẹ̀ fi rẹ̀ sí ipò ìyá yẹn pé tó bá jọ òun lòun náà ṣe báyìí àbí ìyá òun I'm telling you ṣe rí kíní tí bá rò ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn tí bá kàn rò má kàn máa wò pé àwọn èèyàn ṣe wà á lẹ̀ sí báyìí àwa gbégbé àbíta ní àní Jésù jẹ́ Jésù náà ni so ẹ̀yin lèmi máa kí o ẹ̀yin máa kí just keep on doing it ọlọ́dẹ máa ràn yín lọ́wọ́ àwa yìí àwọn ògbọ́n nǹkan kan bá ṣe wà àgbọ̀n kankan à ń tẹ̀lé yín ọlọ́dẹ ràn yín lọ́wọ́ God bless you.
ọgbọ́n ẹjọ́ torí Ọlọ́run torí nǹkan tí mo fẹ́ lọ ṣe máa fún wa ní 2 minutes ẹ̀yin tí mo gbé sókè ó yá ọgbọ́n àgbà ó yẹ sáré bá mi sọ̀rọ̀.
adìyẹ wo ẹ má bínú ibi iṣẹ́ mo wà abẹ́ mọ́tò mo ti ń wo prógámù yín ẹ má bínú abẹ́ mọ́tò mo ti ń wò ó ká mi lára gan. ṣe rí tó wá pé ní èèyàn kan wà lẹ́yìn yín bẹ́ẹ̀ dìmọ̀ ní kọ́kọ́ bá mi da ọtí olówó ńlá kọ́kọ́ bá mi dà lé lórí náà ẹ̀yin nìkan lẹ́ ń da ọgbọ́ wọ́ọ̀dù láàmú ẹ fáwọn pásọ̀ lásàmẹ́tì wọn tí ọkọ rí yan yanjú ibẹ̀ ẹ̀kọ́ ni mo tiẹ̀ ti ń bọ̀ náà ṣẹ́rí rd.
nígbà tẹ́ fẹ́ pa action mọ́yàn lára ni tí ò dẹ̀ dáa.
wọ́n ní kò dáa o pé
wọ́n ní kò dáa.
wọ́n ní babaláwo kan tiẹ̀ sọ ní nígbà ayé yẹn nígbà tí àwọn ìyá wọn tó bá fẹ́ bà ayé bàbá wọn yẹn jẹ́.
Whether it's ancient, with all the powers of the Fulani, all it took was Ibadan. Ibadan dealt with them so soundly, they remember it till today. Why do you think we all respect ourselves like the way we do? There are groups in Nigeria, one of us we are just being courteous. Some people are not really respected, we are just being courteous. Oh, they are very fearful. They are very fearful. Yet they were able to deal with we had the Oshogbo War, we had the Jalumi War. I can mention 10 wars in Yoruba land. And the person you had, Ibadan, Maxim, please, if you don't know these things, don't confuse people in the comment section. Ibadan defeated Fulani. What are you talking about? Which Ilorin defeated Fulani? Ilorin defeated Fulani, Fulani gba Ilorin. You are the same person asking for was 19th century. Because for you, history probably said yesterday. Okay, we've been around for a long time. All of that to say this. We're going to spend a lot of time discussing our history, just like we're doing, because it's important that we get to the point where you people actually wake up to understand that, number one, you don't need heroes from abroad. You have a lot at home. Your faith doesn't have anything to do with how you experience or interpret your culture. Number three, stop believing the nonsense. That is the same way you are hearing right now. We've bought all the land in Lagos, and some people believe it. You people believe it. The person saying he's bought all the land in Lagos lives under the bridge. He's complaining that his brother, who has money, has been trying to look for a house all over Lagos to rent. He couldn't find a house. If they bought all the houses in Lagos, how can you not have a house to sleep? How are you sleeping under the bridge? Stop listening to people who just tell you, fantastic things that they wish And you should also believe it and now be preaching with this. And you, but let me tell you something. It's even very disrespectful. You, but who are you? Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. Hold your ears. There are many things to discuss today. I saw a lot of things over the weekend with President Tinubu going to St. Kitts. A lot of things I would like to talk about, but I'm just going to stop so that I can get to the topic of today. But it's important for us to, and let me say this, just in case you're coming up, it's not so much, the truth of the matter is this, as a culture, as a people, we have to teach our history. The children, I was watching, we were watching, I just had to watch this movie yesterday, although I stopped watching because they're getting history wrong. And the person said, somebody in the movie kept saying, Gessi. And I was like, no, it's not Gessi, it's Gessi. So I called my younger kids and then I asked them, who is Gessi? Who is Gessi? And what's Gessi's relationship with us? You know, I'm from Ife. Some people have been asking in their insulting, they say, where is that boy from? Where is that boy from? No, I'm not a boy. I'll probably give it to your father. I'm not a boy, but I'm from Ife. I don't have to go into the details of Gessi's story. But the point is that somebody said something in the movies, and I called the younger ones, and I was like, who is Gessi and how is he related to you? Because we are from Ife. And then, of course, we have 4 royal families and then the connections. And then he did well. But the question is, he did well because I taught him. You see, we can all get angry on social media. I am angry. But you see, the real way to deal with this thing, after responding to this, because we must respond, and I'm glad we are responding. After responding, we must teach our children our history. You don't want a generation that grows up thinking that Yoruba history began with Nigeria. Let them see their heroes. It is today that I hear Yoruba people complain about color. And I'm like, these things hurt. It hurts because you are literally cleared all the work your ancestors have done in the last 1,000 years to now go and start fighting like Black Americans who want to build their own. With all due respect to them, but again, they have a different frame of reference. The Igbos have a different frame of reference. Different groups have different. So you will erase everything you have and now begin with Nigeria and say, if you compare what you are doing. Lastly, in case you are afraid, if you are Yoruba and you are afraid, don't be afraid. Be strong, be bold, do what you have to do. But listen, the reason you have to do that is not because some other group in Nigeria are strong. It's because in your history, and Shoujo, in your own history, not just ancient, in your ancient history, in your recent history, you have a history of bravery, of heroism. That's your history. And I say this, I'll say it again. The reason I'm passionate about this is because one day I was in a conversation and a young Yoruba boy said something, and I felt, boy, oti believe nonsense, yo. Oti gbagbo. Okay, because they've said it. And let me land by saying something. If you call the people a coward to feel strong, you are worse than cowards. Whoever owns that should just take it. If you have to call people cowards in order to feel like you are strong, you are worse than a coward. Lastly, if a Yoruba person tells you, ma rora, shake pele, they are not telling you to be cowards. They are telling you to be careful. They are telling you to be cautious. They are telling you to look before you leap. And yes, there are times in life where you have to leap before you look, especially in several areas, to be honest, where you have to move. But even then, there's something called calculated risks. A reckless person is not a fearless person. Throwing darts at anything just to see which one will stick does not mean you are fearless. It just means that you don't know how to plan. And if you check people's history and discover a pattern of people just doing things haphazardly and just going out for it, and you think that means The nation is in trouble. Our passport is in trouble all over the world today because of the people you are saying they are bold. It's recklessness. A guy was complaining about thousands of people in the Indonesian prison. He's from a particular ethnic group in Nigeria. It's recklessness. Be brave, but don't be stupid. Don't be reckless. Just anything. We can do anything. It's recklessness. It's recklessness that will make you go to another person's house, another person's land, and say to them, "We all own this place. I am bold." You are not bold. You are stupid. They could gun you down. We own this place together. What are you talking about? It's one Nigeria. You will kill yourself. That's not bravery. That's recklessness. And me, I'm not going to make it look as if recklessness is a virtue. It's not. Bravery is, but recklessness is not. And people should still be calculative, and people should be bold and dare things, but not because of a group in Nigeria. It has nothing to do with any other group. It's about you. It's about you. Be bold, but be calculative, and understand how to calculation and understand how to make progress. Other groups in Nigeria, God bless them. God bless the Igbos, God bless Hausa, God bless Ibibio, Idoma, everybody, God bless them. But as a Yoruba person, your greatness has nothing to do with comparison with another group in Nigeria. You don't have to compare yourself with another group. It is a waste of time. As a matter of fact, it is demeaning. It is demeaning for you as a Yoruba person to look at yourself like, how do I say I'm great? Oh, let me look at my neighbor. Which neighbor are you looking at? I said this last week. When you look at the Chinese history, for instance, and you see 5,000 years of unbroken civilization, it should challenge you as a Yoruba person. Not necessarily as Nigerian, as a Yoruba person. You know why? China, as big as it is 91.4% Han Chinese. That means the vast majority of that huge country is one ethnicity. When you are studying their history, of course, they have many subgroups, just like Yoruba people. And Chinese is an ethnicity, just like Yoruba is an ethnicity. And Chinese has several subgroups, just like Yoruba have several subgroups. Subgroups of Yoruba, you say Egba, Ife, Ijebu, Oyo, many groups, Igbomina, Okun, Ekiti, Awori. Those are subgroups. That's what you have in China. They have their own philosophy based on Confucianism. You have your own philosophy from Orunmila. Excuse me. Again, I'm talking about philosophy, not spirituality. Okay, I don't really care for spirituality in that sense. I have my own preferred spirituality. And spirituality has nothing to do with geography. They are white Ifa adherents, and they are Yoruba Christians. 2-4, there is no fight about spirituality. But when it comes to your philosophy, báwo náà ṣe ṣẹ̀dá lẹ́yìn, báwo náà ṣe ń tún nǹkan ṣe ládùúgbò yín, native intelligence. That's what Chinese embrace in Confucius. That's what you must embrace in Orunmila. I'm talking about the spirituality. That one depends on whoever you are. I'm not, but the philosophy is very important. And I've studied it, and I study it, and I think it's brilliant. China builds based on that philosophy. Even the Chinese in Singapore did the same thing. If you think I'm lying, read books by Lee Kuan Yew or watch his interviews. He's mentioned it several times. Singapore is 75% Chinese. They are building they are Sino-Singaporeans. They are building based on the Confucius philosophy. He said it. Why am I saying this? If you are looking for people to compare yourself with as a Yoruba person, go to China. You know that China went to China? This is the time to go to China. You read books on China like, okay, how did they build this thing? Their science. What's the connection? Gunpowder is from China. The gunpowder that everybody's using as gun, Europe uses to terrorize the entire world. It's from China. Glass beads is from Ife. That's science right there. Compare the herbs, the medicine. You have herbs, you have medicine. How are you going to be able to get to the point, maybe even surpass Tianxi or all those wonderful products from China? That's how we should be thinking. Oh, let me look at one ethnic group in Yoruba, in Nigeria. I'm better than you. it means you are not started, because there's nothing to compare yourself with. If it's about trading, your ancestor. Can you man do me, if it's about trading, your own ancestors were trading, they went into international trade and commerce 1,000 years before Nigeria existed. I'm not joking, and I'm not saying this to make you happy. I'm just telling you that if you think whatever you see around is something to compare yourselves with, you are reducing yourself. More than 1,000 years before Nigeria became a thing, your own people were having international trade. They understood comparative advantage. So if we fell off because of Nigeria, this is time to get back up. Not by looking around and say, who is smaller than me? No. Who is my mate? Yoruba should be competing with China. Believe it, Singapore competed with China. It got to a point, I keep forgetting his pronunciation. It starts with Debunking, the one before Xi Jinping. The man went to Singapore and said, we're going to bring people to train in Singapore. Don't leak on you. The first set of people that re-engineered some parts of Chinese economy trade in Singapore. Mao Zedong. No, not Mao. No, not Mao. Not Chairman Mao. No, Chairman Mao stopped in the 70s. This one took over from 1978 to 1989. Thank you, Deng Xiaoping. It's Deng Xiaoping. China is China. Singapore is just a little fraction of China, but China had to consult with Singapore and got some people to train in universities in Singapore. Then later they took people from Singapore to establish faculties and schools in China. That's small China, small Singapore. But they built whatever they built. You look at Singapore and all you see is Western civilization, is a Western kiniko. But underneath all of the facade, all the beautiful things you're seeing is Chinese philosophy. Our glory is in our philosophy as Yoruba people, not in all this talo better, tani better. Our time frying way. Me version okon pa yen okon. Taiwan is about is more than 95% Chinese. I'm saying that to say that Nigeria fell us off, man. Tí bá ṣe òjò tó rọ̀ tó kó ẹ lẹ́pọ̀ máa dì ẹ́ tó máa ṣe ọmọ Yorùbá tá máa fi mí wé. Àfiwé yẹn nìkan gan ó tó dùn mí lọ́tọ̀ ká kọ́kọ́ gbàgbé pé history àfiwé yẹn ẹ tán fi mí wé ń dùn mí pé ó rí èèyàn fi mí wé ó rí mi sọ pé èèyàn kan ni wọn èèyàn làwọn náà o èèyàn làwọn náà bọ́ ó rí ó tẹ wàá rí nǹkan mi fi mí wé. Oh boy, sorry, TikTok, happy Twitter, we are making do with this mic thing. Let's bring people up. We'll do this for the next 15 minutes, and then why can't you fight for independence from Nigeria? Because you don't need independence to have wisdom. Scotland doesn't have to fight for independence from Nigeria to be able to conserve and preserve what is theirs and appreciate their culture. So I'm not the one you are going to gaslight. Why not fight for Nigeria and get out of Nigeria? You who have been fighting for Nigeria and killing yourself in your region, what have you brought out of it? Deji sha ma woran tie, ma woran tie. Deji ma woran. Na ka pe malum border. So we are where we are right now, right? But you see, Papa did not complain about the structure of Nigeria when he built Yoruba land. This is my point. Papa did not complain about, this is limiting. It was limiting then. Just in case we've not talked about it. It was limiting then. Mumbo, 1 second. The Singapore you are talking about even came to our greatly beloved Chief Awolowo for advice on how he built Western regional economy back then. Of course. Because I read where the Nkoyi was referring to his interaction with Nigeria. What Yoruba people, and let me say this idea of you must get out of Nigeria, number one, you don't have enough wisdom to advise me on what my people should do. Let's start with that one. Number two, I have elders to look up to. And what did my elders do in the 50s? They knew the country constrained them. They knew. But then they decided to build an oasis. They built an economy in the 50s into the 60s. Most of the first things you have in Africa or West Africa or Nigeria are in Yoruba land. They built it. So, and there's sagacity also informed that where you're able to create something regardless of the people surrounding you. For instance, there are many nations in the world today surrounded by hostile Guinea, but they're able to build something. So no, we don't have to get out of Nigeria to build. If you think that way, you will never build. Do I want to get out of Nigeria someday? It would be nice to have my own nation, but guess what? Regardless, I'm going to protect my space. I'm going to speak up if people insult my intelligence by comparing me with it as well. I don't want to say some things. I'll bring some people up. We'll have like 10 to 15 minutes, then we'll go to our topic today, which is Victor Banjo, Caught in the Eye of the Storm. We're talking about Victor Banjo, but we've had a great time. I still have more to say along, but let me stop. Spirit of ancestor, sometimes you have to check yourself, because some people say it in the comment section, want to respond to them. They're not worth it. Just lose yourself because you're angry with it's not necessary. You can't insult everybody in the East. God need. All right, we're bringing some people up, but very quickly, we're going to listen to your submission, and we're going to have more sessions on Yoruba law. And this, again, I don't do this thing to prop us up and say, just beating like, I'm better. No, I'm saying this because I want us to be challenged. I want us to challenge ourselves. And by the way, we're doing it. It's not like we're not doing anything, though. Tell me, how many unicorns do we have in Nigeria? How many unicorns do we have in Nigeria in tech? How many unicorns in Nigeria are led by Yoruba people? Ask that question and stop looking around saying some people are cowards, or some people are they need to learn bravery from somebody. You don't even have the kind of productivity that I have, and I want to learn something from you. Look around. Is it Money Point or Flutter Wave or Andela? These are led by Yoruba boys. There are 5 unicorns that I can remember right now. 5. There's Flutter Wave, there's Money Point, there's Andela, there's OPay, and there's Interswitch in Nigeria. Those 5, 3 of the 5 are led by Yoruba people. What are we talking about? What's this thing of Yoruba people? I'm telling you. What else? No, I'm not even talking about Calendly. That one is in the US. Let's even stay at home first. Look at the banking sector. Who are the people leading the banking sector? Oil and gas. What are we saying? Piggyvest. No, I don't know if Piggyvest. No, Piggyvest is a great company, but I don't know if it's a unicorn yet. Unicorn means that it's valued at $1 billion. Whether it's in tech, in banking, in fashion, in movies, in music, Yorubas lead. Yorubas lead. But we've got to do better. Like, we can't just say, oh, we're better than others. Oh, we have to do better. We have to get to the point where it actually becomes something that dominates international market. In literature, thank you. So if you are people to Ojolo, Eman Shojo, would you be able to make this mark in architecture, even in real estate? Go to South, go to Southeast. You see Dele Taiwo, Jide Taiwo. You see the kidney all over the country. In real estate, in business. And I'm not even talking about Yoruba people outside the country. I'm not talking about Ogunlesi or Tokwe Aobono. I'm not talking about all those people yet. We have to blow our trumpet. Because if you don't do so, báwo Yorùbá máa ń sọ náà kíkọ́ tó tó ìmọ̀ máa ṣẹ́ gírì sí yàn. Israel Adesanya, we are all over the place. Like, we are doing stuff, but guess what? We've got to do more. No, not because people are comparing us with those who are not even doing as much as we are doing, which is actually where that's the insult for me, guys. That's actually my own insult. Like, oh, why if you mean wait oh, China, look at China, and I'm like, oh, okay. All right. Most of the businesses in Nigeria today are owned by Yoruba people. I'm not talking about trading shops. We also trade. We're in trading shops as well. But beyond trading, business, commerce. Just because people don't go on social media to be shouting, we are the world, we are the children, does not mean that we're just, we're just there. And the funny thing is that some people do like this, but they make so much noise. You do this, you don't talk as much. It's like it's like somebody saying that, what does Michael Denuga have? Do you know how many billionaires I have? They just wear singlets and slippers. Why? Because Adenuga doesn't talk. He doesn't do social media generally like that. So no, what does he have? What does he have? I wear singlet and slippers. Nigeria, it is well with Nigeria, but Nigeria care about our gun as Yoruba people, and we've got to. Even trading, they are owned by Jebus. Why do you think the Magbon War was fought in 1892? It was because of trade. Let me quickly talk about that, then we'll go to the topic. People that I brought up have gone down. You see, the Jebu were monopolizing the trade route to Lagos. Folks from Ibadan want to get to Lagos. Folks from Lagos want to get to the hinterland. Ijebu was in the crossroads. Ijebu will buy things from Lagos, sell it to the folks from hinterland from Ibadan. Take things from Ibadan, sell it to those people. The British got involved, like, you have got to open this place up. They said no. They were working with the Egba. The Egba supported them at that point. Long story short, it led to a war between Ijebu and the British and Ibadan. 1892. It's a person who didn't even lift a finger before he collected winter cap that would teach me history of bravery. Let all of us just wear our winter caps in peace, and may God bless all of us. All this comparison is just nonsense. It doesn't make sense. And by the way, with all due respect to everybody from whatever, I'm not really as angry with those people as I am with the person who is comparing me with Abba. But with due respect to every group, you are blessed. Every culture is good. Every culture is wonderful. But we've kept quiet for too long. And now it's becoming like it is true. On top of we are all one Nigeria. So yeah, let's go to the topic. Like I say, people are okay just listening because I brought people up. I think maybe it was a network or something. Okay, there's one more person. Just this one person, because of time. And then we'll move on. Hello, Omo Yele. Good afternoon. How do we? You know what?
Good
I have
afternoon, my
I have
brother.
to find a way to get the people on Twitter to hear this. This is what we're going to do. Twitter guys, 1 second. I want to make sure that you can hear this. So again, this is the first time we're doing this, so we have some teething issues, but I'm sure we're going to be good. I like the use of winter cap as used by Ohaneze. La 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 la. If they want to use it, that's fine. I mean, it's not. I have no rights to tell them to use it or not use it. I'm just saying that it's disrespectful to chalk everything down to that. All right. So please, no other person send any requests. Did I bring people up? Okay. All right, Omayele, please go on. I'll see if we can get people here to hear. Yeah, please go on. Hello, Trust Guy, are you there?
Yeah.
Yeah, please go on.
Yeah. There's no doubt that Yorubas have big businesses. I mean, I'm from Nigeria Delta, like Awusas, and also some people from Nigeria Delta also have big businesses. But the advantage of the Igbos have is that they have been able to build a middle class among themselves, which no tribe in Nigeria have been able to replicate that fast.
Trust Guy, you are not getting me. What you are doing right now, I don't care.
Yeah.
I
So
don't
I will have
care
to give
what
them
the Igbos
credit
have
for
built.
that.
No, so that's the point. This is not the platform for that. Like, I'm not here to give anybody any credit. And I'm sorry because I'm just saying that people are comparing me with somebody that you now came up to now come out talking
No,
about
I'm not
middle class.
comparing you with
Wait. Statistics of Nigeria. Guys, please, I'm begging you. This middle, don't let me talk. Statistics of
Can I say
Nigeria.
something? Okay.
No.
Let me
You
allow
can't
you.
just 1 second. Let's do one by one. Let's take one by one. Statistics of Nigeria. The region. Have you ever studied the regions that require aid to eat in 2025? Have you studied the regions? Have you
Which
studied the
region?
VAT revenue? No, I'm not going to tell you. That's my homework, please. The VAT revenue first quarter of 2025, the entire 2024. Have you studied the VAT from every region in Nigeria? Why do you guys make these things up? You have created a middle class. Start there. See, if you are doing well for yourself, I'm happy for you. I'm okay with you. What you just did right now with, they have done something more than anybody. I don't care. Number one, it's a lie. It's a lie. What I just said right now, I'm trying not to go into it, but research it. You can find these details somewhere. Regions in Nigeria, we have 6 geopolitical regions. Which geopolitical zone in Nigeria requires aid to eat? That its people require aid to eat. Look for that report. Is by the way, you find it in Nigerian Bureau of Statistics. Then also look for the VAT revenue first quarter of 2025, VAT revenue of 2024, and look at what states and regions made. Then come back and tell us about this wonderful middle class that you created. But regardless of what you created for yourself, all the best with your creations. God bless you.
I'm not from the East anyway, just to start with.
I don't care if you're not from the East. You are Igbo.
I'm from Nigeria Delta, just to start with.
You are Igbo. Why are you ashamed of your ethnicity?
In Nigeria Delta, we supply Nigeria with everything.
Igbo. Trust guy, you are Igbo. Trust guy, you are Igbo. And it's not a problem. Like, it doesn't... I don't care what you supply. You are Igbo.
We supply Nigeria with all the old crude oil, all the old resources of Nigeria. But
I'm from Nigeria. I'm from Nigeria. Listen, what is it? It's okay. It's not the problem. Like, am I going to fight because you are Igbo? Like, we are all Nigerians. You are Igbo. Which one is it's like a Yoruba person comes to me now and say he's talking and I say, let me tell you about North Central. About North Central. Oh guy, you are Yoruba, you are from Kwara, you are Yoruba from Kogi, North Central, North Central. I thought you said there are no Igbos in Delta. Is this one okay? Some of you, your parents wasted money sending you to school. It should have been better for you to be doing Agbekpo. Because this is, I want to assume the person who wrote that in the comment section went to school. This is a shame. Igbos have always been in Delta State. When I say always, I'm talking since independence or just before colonization. Okay? Igbos are in Delta State. Delta State is not Igbo land. If you don't understand that basic thing, then that's on you. There are Igbos in Anioma, but Anioma is not Igbo land. That's the point. There are Igbos in Anioma. There are Igbos there. And everybody knows that to be true. And they did not just get there yesterday. They have been there. During the, even before independence, they were there. We used to call them Midwest Igbos. It was through them, let me not go into the history, but they were there. And I cannot in good conscience say, oh, they're not Igbo in Delta, they're not Igbo in... They are Igbos in Anioma, but Anioma is not Igbo land. If you guys want to go and cut it and use it for video, another funny thing is that they will cut one thing and then just run with it, and they are fighting with themselves. To call that place Igbo land is to deny the other groups that are in that area. It's not an homogeneous space. And no, they didn't meet you there. Thank you for the middle class thing that you spoke on earlier. I just didn't like the fact that you kept shouting you're from Nigeria. Number one, I didn't even ask you. So here's the problem. You come up, you want to, chime in, which is perfect, right? Oh, I have something to say, and then you say it. Which one is? I'm not from the southeast. I'm from Niger Delta. Who asked you? Just be proud of your ethnicity, and I don't have any problem. Listen, I have no problem with your people. I have no problem with your identity. I think you're fantastic people. I think you have, like every other culture, you have good sides, you have bad sides. You are wonderful. I mean, and God bless you. But no, comparing yourself with myself is an insult. All right, Omoyele, please go on.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm very grateful. I saw the clips of what that person was preaching, and I shook my head because people are losing the sense of history. Yoruba has been far, far, far ahead of his contemporaries, if there's anything like that, self. I hate people that are revisionists was preaching that want to change it because people are losing the sense of history. Now, what you call Nollywood, I think there's a feedback from your end. Okay, what we call Nollywood today, people will say, Igbo started it, Igbo started. I was like, in the 1945, when Obatu Gunde was doing his theater, this thing all around the nations of Nigeria, where were Nollywood? We know that the first film that was produced by Yoruba people. Most of the lawyers in 1920 something in Nigeria, they are Yorubas. History of Nigeria cannot be written without no Yoruba being in the forefront. The alphabet that Igbos are using today, let them go and research it, was coined by Ajayi Crowther. Ajayi Crowther wrote alphabet for Yorubas, and the slave traders forced him to go and write for Igbo. He wrote for Igbos. He produced the first Bible. The Igbo. I know you want to make me pause.
No, sorry. I also want to be careful. What Ajayi Crowther did was to create a primer.
Okay.
Primer. The alphabet was Latin script. Okay.
Okay.
Did he write alphabet for them? I don't know. But also,
He did. History is there. I read it.
I wrote the primer. You're right. You wrote the primer actually. And that,
so
to be honest, see, it is true. I'm just looking for an easier way to give it to them.
Most of these trade trading they are talking about, Ijebus are the one in charge of commodity trade before. It was after Civil War when they came back that Yorubas opened with our magnanimous hearts, begin to interact, trying to support them trade-wise, that they begin to introduce most of the automobile parts and all of that. History has it that the Jebus are in control. But when the Igbo people came, they start doing adulterated, cheaper ones and all of that. And they flood that with the market. They claim to be a business. The same thing in the area of pharmaceutical. In those days, Alabukun that we use is produced by Yoruba man in 1920 something. But now most of the adulterated things we have in the market, we know where they came from. So to me, at times I introspect that why I'm trying to search this Baba Olowo. Somebody, it was Pastor Bakari that said, one of the British, I don't know, the person that said it, that the kind of brain that God gave Awolowo, it can rule Britain, America at the same time. The only mistake, if there is any, that I felt Baba made was to leave the Western region to go to the Central. But at the same time, I don't see it as a mistake. But if he had stayed here, we would have gone far ahead of everybody. And maybe there will be more persecution against Yoruba and all of that. So out of magnanimity, he felt that whatever is happening here, let it happen at the center. But the leadership of the other side could not rise above ethnic bigotry. This must be my own tribe alone and all of that. The NCNC that Azikwe rode on today was created by Abat Macaulay. Abat Macaulay brought Zik into it as a young guy, secretary, to be the secretary, so that they can have pan Nigerian look, so that all the tribes can be there. Won't be Yoruba party alone. But unfortunately, Zik hijacked it, brought Okotiebo, brought some other people. They turned it to a tribal party, kick Yorubas out. That was how
30 more
AG
seconds,
was
please.
formed. So I'm proud to be a Yoruba man. I don't have issue with any other tribe. But when it comes to the aspect of they are these forceful people that are stupid are the ones, I'm sorry, God forgive me for using that language, will be the one in the face of war, in the face of bullets. You go and use your bare chest to face bullets. Shoot me, nothing, I will die. Yoruba has a proverb, and that has been guiding us. Moja Mosa, Lambaki Kanju. A valiant man is not the one that can confront people or confront the opposition. A valiant man has several strategy in his arsenal. So Yoruba is a strategist. We are not confrontational people. When there's a need for confrontation, we do. When there's a need to retreat, we do. When there's a need to consult, we do. So we understand all the sides to an issue. But if somebody is only combatant, and that is all they know, they will always fail.
Thank you.
And they will call those people that are diplomatic, they will call them coward. Let them keep on whining. Thank you, sir, for the opportunity.
Thank you very much for that submission. That was really good. I really appreciate you for coming up. All right, so we're going to go to the topic of today, which is Victor Banjo caught in the storm. We started talking about this a while ago, but let me just quickly correct something. Konid. But thank you very much for that stuff. Fantastic submission. All right. Oh shoot, let me remove this thing, sorry. All right. So we started a series last week, Victor Banjo caught in the storm, and today we're going to part 4. So far we've talked about, I don't know if that's the right way to just end that part, but I think we ended it on the right part. So the news, things that happened, the other stuff that we usually talk about every day, we can't go into that because of time. Just wanted to spend more time talking about the Yoruba stuff. And Yoruba people, please learn your history and teach your children. If you don't learn it, when you get a bigger platform, you're going to, and the funny thing is that this, by the way, if you're a Christian, this is not persecution for Pastor Bolaji. This is not persecution. This is correction. This is not persecution. It is correction. That was a gaffe. That was sometimes you wish the heart that we pour into studying American history, maybe because if we put the same passion into studying Yoruba history, we'll be better for it. So please, let's study our history. Let's try and understand who we are, and then we can grow and become better. All right. Let me welcome everybody. Let's just do a little house cleaning before we get into the book. Into the topic of today. and I usually attend his church. No, see, it doesn't affect his spirituality. It doesn't affect the fact that he's a great pastor, Ayo, in the comment section. No, it doesn't change that fact. He's just ignorant of Yoruba history. And he's definitely ignorant of Nigerian history. It doesn't mean he's a bad person or he's a bad pastor. It just means he's ignorant of that particular thing. And hopefully he's going to learn. But we have to find a way to also get these things across. So please, as you say this, please share the videos. Whether it's on TikTok, on YouTube, on Facebook, please share. Excuse me. Please share so that people will know, people will learn, and people stop disgracing an entire ethnic group. All right. Somebody here, Gideon. Gideon, please. I'm going to have to block you the way you are moving. I know you are Yoruba, but this is disrespectful. I hope you know that. Stop writing Republic on my platform. It doesn't make sense. You should be an ọmọlúàbí. Dandan kọ́, tipátipá kọ́, má kọ́ síbẹ̀ mọ́. And by the way, this is what happens with agitators. You guys don't get your things correct. Say there is no history. There is history in Nigerian schools. There has always been history. My children studied history. In primary school, in secondary schools, they studied it. So all this, there's no history, there's history. And even the public schools that don't do history, they've started doing history now. They returned it. So please, and please, this is not the platform for your breakup of whatever. If you want to break something up, create your own platform. God be with you. Thank you. Break Nigeria, break Nigeria. What's your plan after you break Nigeria? Because a plan. They'll be shouting. Oh, God bless you. Well, please don't write that thing on my platform again. You do it every day. It's unnecessary. Thank you for understanding. Let's move on. Yeah, so we started talking about Victor Banjo last week. We discussed his history, but I don't want to go back into those things we already talked about. But last time, that was on Friday, we ended with what happened. One second. Oh. We ended what happened. Welcome, Ron Kenimbe. Good to see you. With the invasion of the Midwest, and I think that would be a very good place to start. We won't have to go back to the beginning because of time. One second, I just want to open the relevant pages so it becomes easier for us to move. Okay, we're writing about his family, his siblings, his children, the family affairs. We've talked about that over and over again. His political ideology was a socialist, was a Marxist, and we talked about how he was released from prison by Ojuku. Ojuku released him after he declared Biafra, and then from the word go, it appears that he wasn't really for secession. And just to get us up to speed, I think we should start by reading Wole Soyinka's work. Wole Soyinka's work where he met with Victor Banjo. The book again is called. The book is called "You Must Set Forth at Dawn" by the brilliant Wole Soyinka, a Nobel laureate. So ẹ ká ṣe wá sí ta ló lọ sí chọ́ọ̀chì àwọn church Àgùdà àbí chọ́ọ̀chì àbí Anglican. Ẹ jẹ́ àṣìwé orin wá sí orin nọ́mbà kìnnìkan. Paulette Widowson, what tribal hatred is una don carry your victim? Oh, you are responding. You have time. But thank you for responding. Busui is so popular, and I was in the midst of some people, and a very notable Nigerian says they know Busui from TikTok. Wow. It is well. Kọ́lọ̀ ṣàánú, kọ́lọ̀ ràn wá lọ́wọ́. Ká lè gbé ọ̀rọ̀ Yorùbá ga, ká lè jẹ́ kí Nàìjíríà dá sí. but we thank God. I received calls too, by the way. Sinchin, is everything all right at home? Which violation are you detecting? Let me mute you so you can detect it, in your house. All right. Sinchin says it's the app. You must think you are very smart, though. No. I don't think I did the right thing. Babajide, I muted notification. No. Sorry, is Sinchin? No, sorry. We're going to get to this topic, but is Sinchin one of us, or is the person just because the person wrote I muted notification? Oh, don't worry. Okay. All right. It's 1 minute to 4. Sinchin is one of us. Okay, let me unmute him. Sinchin. It's an account pretend. I can't even find him. Guys, I promise in the next 1 minute we're going to start. Sorry, moderator, please. You can find him in the. Sincerely, I can't. I really wish I could do something about that now, but I can't. I can't find it. What he types is actually against the platform, Ronke. You are very, very correct. You know what? I think maybe somebody used his name or something, but no, what he typed was actually an intentional way to distract. So yeah, please do it. Just becoming. Thank you very much. Let's get into the topic of today. So like I said, we're going to begin with the book by Wole Soyinka. The book is called You Must Set Forth at Dawn. I'm going to read from page 162. He says, most faithful of all, I mean, I already talked about how he met with Ojuku and what Ojuku said. What Ojuku said, Obina, you are this close. This close. All right, where was I? He spoke with Ojuku and he talked about how, he had known Ojuku. In case you were not here, let me just read part of that. He says, meeting Ojuku face to face, I tried unsuccessfully to remind myself that I was now facing His Excellency Lieutenant Colonel Oluzumegwu Ojukwu, head of an independent state, not the young Emeka whom I had known in Yaba, Lagos in the early 50s. Then I had been laying siege to the heart of the younger sister of his own object of attention, envying the jazzy sports car that brought him to his tryst, while I pedaled to battle on my bicycle. He was heavily bearded and already balding from the forehead, self-conscious of his new status to the point of unintended self-parody, especially when taken with his exaggerated upper-class British accent. But his delight at my visit was genuine enough. Sorry, I just read something on my TikTok now. People are interested, but thank you for buying these TikTok coins. Thank you. I outlined my mission. This is Ojuku. This is Wole Soyinka speaking. I outlined my mission. I was there to persuade him to call a halt to the firing from his side, while one more effort was made to resolve the conflict between the federal government and his now seceded state. The sticky point, however, was that this would require placing a hold on the secession. Ojuku reiterated his charges against the federal side and painted for me the mood of his people. It was the people themselves, not he, who had pressed for secession. Is a lie. No one, he insisted, could have withstood the tide of that resentful outpouring. It was a plausible case, but one that I found difficult to swallow entire. Ojuku himself had played a role in manipulating emotions. A number of other things, but we're going to move straight to what happened with Victor Banjo. So he says, most faithful of all my meetings in the seceded enclave was that with Victor Banjo, a Yoruba officer. Following some convoluted chain of his incidents, Victor Banjo had been accused of menacing the former head of state, General Aguiyi Rossi, and ended up in Enugu prison. So if you were here earlier, we also talked about how he was arrested So Victor Banjo was one of those people who helped Aguiyi Rossi to consolidate power on January 15 and January 16. So the first coup happened January 15. Like I said, the only way, I understand when people say things like, oh, it wasn't just an Igbo thing, is if you understand that there were two coups. There was a revolutionary coup, and then there was the Igbo coup. And the Igbo coup was one that succeeded. And once he became head of state, Victor Banjo was one of those people who rallied everyone to work with Ironsi, right? He rallied different, especially the northern officers, and then he became head of state on the 16th. By 17th, he came to visit. He went to visit Ironsi, and while he was in the reception room, two officers, Kurbo and Awuna, you don't have to ask about the ethnic group, you already know. They were from the east. They went to meet with him, and then they saw him holding a gun. Not holding a gun. He had a gun in his holster. It was one of the latest weapons. So they asked him to give it to them, so they would take a look. He gave them the gun. They looked at it, and the next thing they turned it around, and they were going to kill him. And according to his sister, in this book, and by the way, in his own letter as well, he maintained it. But let me even show you some books that I think you should get. Let me not break my thoughts. There are so many things in my head at the same time. Let me just continue. According to his sister and even his own letter, he mentioned that the news of his death was already out before that moment. In other words, they already broadcast the news that he was killed in an assassination attempt, which means that the whole arrest was actually planned and it was meant to be killed. And the only reason he was not killed was because there was a foreign visitor in the reception room at that particular time, on 17th January 1967. I say this to say that if you're a Yoruba bot, that thing that makes you want greatness for people is good. But just understand the fact that just because you have a pure heart doesn't mean that everybody has the same. A word is enough otherwise. 1 second, let me find that book before I continue so I don't get distracted again. 1 second. All right. All right, thanks for staying tuned. So yeah, some books that we're going to be using today, just a few of them. This one is called A Break in the Silence. It's written by F. Adetomo Ogunsheye. Like I said, she's the first female professor in the history of Nigeria, and she happens to be Victor Banjo's sister. This book, A Break in the Silence. Please check Rotimi Books for some of these materials. We're also going to refer to this one, A Gift of Sequins, Letters to My Wife, Victor Banjo. It was written by Olayenka Omigbojun. She also happens to be the first female professor of psychiatry in Nigeria, and she, interestingly, is Victor Banjo's daughter. And then there's this one, Colonel Victor Banjo, A Revolutionary Betrayed. All right. This one is by Niyi Aborishade, and it's also a very, very, very important book. There are some other books by Wole Soyinka, for instance. There was a country. Sorry, no, there was a country. You Must Set Forth at Dawn, and also this one, Just Before Dawn, by Koliomoto Shaw. We're going to read this one as well. Then we will read this one, My Command, by Olusegun Obasanjo. Others I would mention as we go. The reason I do this is because people ask for a list. This is the list. But as we go on, I'll mention other books. So please, if you didn't get it now, kindly watch the video again on YouTube, and then you know the exact books that we're using. All right. So having said that, let's go on. So he was arrested. He was imprisoned a naval ship. Then from there it was transferred to Kirikiri. From Kirikiri it was transferred to Aba. From Aba to Ikorekpene. From Ikorekpene to Enugu. He was in Enugu when he wrote the letter of 1st June of 1960. Sorry, he was in Ikorekpene when he wrote the letter of 1st June 1966 to the General Officer Commanding Aguirre Rossi. But it was in Ikorekpene. What am I saying? It was in Ikorekpene when he wrote the letter to the General Officer Commanding Aguirre Rossi, who was the head of state at the time. But then it was in Enugu at the time that Ojuku declared Biafra. And soon after he declared Biafra, he released him and, the rest of those who were already arrested for the January 15 coup. And of course, it's been said that the January 15 coup was the reason he was arrested, which was a lie. And also that he was trying to assassinate the head of state, which was also a lie. And when Aguirre Rossi responded to him on 14 February 1966, talking to his wife, he mentioned that, he was protecting Victor. And that's the reason he's not releasing him, or he didn't release him. Anyway, he did not release him until he was killed in July 29 of 1967. No, July 29, 1966. By May 13, 1967, Ojuku declares Biafra, and then the man was freed. So we talked about all of that already. Now I want to get into what happened in the Midwest with the Midwest invasion. So like I said, I was trying to make a point earlier that originally he never really believed in the idea of secession. He was going to work with Ojuku. And, when you read this man's story, apart from the fact that, yes, he was a fine gentleman, it's important to also note something that, the Bible says something in Amos. It's in Amos chapter 3, verse 3. It says, can two work together except they agree? The truth of the matter is that they didn't really agree. What Ojuku had in mind was to have his own nation. What Victor had in mind was to liberate Yoruba land, whatever liberation meant to him. But he didn't think of just breaking away or having a war. Why do I say that? Let me read something to you from what he said to Wole Soyinka when Soyinka went to meet him. This was around June of 67, because at this time, the war had not taken place. The war did not begin until July 6 of 1967. And this is the conversation they had. It says, Soyinka now speaking, it says, a stream of indignation followed as he, that's Victor Banjo, castigated the failure of Western leaders to condemn the massacres of the Igbo and ridiculed the visit of the traditional rulers who had come to the East to commiserate with widows and orphans. Too little, too late. And short on sincerity was his verdict. For the leader of the Biafran secession, he had even harsher words. If Odumigu Ojukwu had displayed true leadership, the secession, he insisted, would have never taken place. So, by the way, the whole idea about traditional leaders that he mentioned was when Yoruba Obas went to Enugu. They went to the north as well to speak to them, to commiserate with them. They also went to the east. And in doing so, they also told him the reason not to fight. But Ojukwu wanted a war. And again, I always say this to Igbo people. To be honest, you may not know this, and it's not your fault, but Ojukwu wanted the war and did everything to make it happen. And I'm sorry it happened because of the people that it affected, but it's important to us to make it very clear that everybody did everything to dissuade him, but he just wanted to fight. And by the way, I watched some videos over the weekend of some of his speeches during the war. I also read some of his speeches as well. The ones I read, not lie. The ones I watched, I felt sorry for the images of the people they were showing. I felt sorry for the people in the images they were showing, but he couldn't care less. He was just using them for his own. It's sad, to be honest. It's very sad. And I hope people get to understand more about what really happened during that war. So back to what I was saying, that this man, he didn't agree with the idea of secession. He didn't think Ojukwu should, break away at all, right? And then we said that apart from all of when Soyinka met with him, he gave Soyinka a message. Now at this point, he was in Enugu. There's a reason I'm there's a reason I'm harping on location and date, because it helps with the timeline and it helps with the understanding of the events, right? Sorry. So before Wole Soyinka left Enugu, Victor Banjo sent him to the leaders of thought in Yoruba land. And this is what he says. It says here, the crux of his message, that's of Victor's message, was this: let them understand in the West that I am leading not a Biafran army, but an army of liberation made up not only of Biafrans but of other ethnic groups. Make the governor of the West and other Western leaders understand this. Urge them not to be taken in by any propaganda by the federal government about the Biafran plan to subjugate the rest of the nation, especially the West. He said this in June of 67. By August of 67, he received a letter from Ojuku. We talked about this last week. If you went here, please listen to the video. Watch the video, please. It's on YouTube. He received a letter from Ojuku on 22nd August 1967, 2 months after this conversation that he was having with Soyinka. And what he said to him, what Ojuku said essentially was, you're going to take over Yoruba land, and when you take over Yoruba land, I'm going to make you the governor. By the way, let me tell you something I discovered over the weekend. I was just reading this book again, and I found something very, very wild. And I thought I would share it with you. Let me read something to you guys. 1 second. Whenever I pause like this, is because we have some retards that we have to mute. That's Oko Sami one here, retards. I want to read something to you that I actually find very, very interesting. Remember what I said? In fact, you know what? Let's do it this way. I'll read just one line from A Break in the Silence, and then we'll understand. We'll go on to this other thing I found out that I wanted to share with you. So let me read this. Page 68, I think. 66. Okay. So this was Ojumegu. This is Ojumegu Ojuku. Sorry, Jesus. This is Odumegu Chukwuemeka Ojuku, the military governor, Republic of Biafra, Enugu, 22nd August 1967. My dear Victor, so he talked about what they were going to do, how they had after clearing the whole question of after clearing the whole question of what am I? This is sorry guys. So let me tell you the way I read. I read very fast. So I'm trying to get my mouth to catch up, to keep up with. All right, let's take it slowly. After clearing, let me start from beginning. The military governor, Republic of Biafra, Enugu, 22nd August 1967. After clearing the whole question with my executive council, I, as the commander-in-chief of the Biafran Armed Forces, have decided to place at your disposal Biafran forces for the liberation of Yoruba land on the following conditions. Now, one of those conditions is that it says Biafran troops will, after the liberation of the Yoruba land, remain in that territory only for as long as we in Biafra consider it necessary for the Yorubas to consolidate their position and sovereignty against any external threat. And then it says on liberation of Yoruba land, you will be appointed military governor of that territory. That was point 5 in the letter that Ojuku wrote to Victor Banjo. He said, number 1, he should take over the Yoruba land. He's going to give him army. He's going to give him arms and ammunition. They will, free Yoruba from the domination of Hausa Fulani. And then, whenever they're done with that, the Biafrans will occupy that place only for as long as they are willing to be there. In other words, we don't have dates, but as long as they want to be there. Now, remember what he said to Soyinka. He said to Soyinka, he says, urge them not to be taken in by any propaganda by the federal government about a Biafran plan to subjugate the rest of the nation, especially the West. So what he's saying basically is that in June, he's telling Soyinka, don't worry about it, it's just propaganda. In August, the man is putting that propaganda, quote unquote, in writing, telling him, when you get there, you liberate everybody. However, we're going to occupy that place. Then the next thing he says, I'm going to make you the governor of Yoruba land. Then he says, you also liberate the capital, that's Lagos. Then Biafra reserves the right to also name the governor of Lagos, right? Then he also says something here. He says, the liberation of Western Nigeria will be a prelude to the liberation of all Yorubas up to River Niger and the severance of all connections between the West and the North at Jeba. So they will free us. They will liberate us from whatever it is they were trying to get us out of. They liberate us, and then once they liberate us, they will now occupy Yoruba land. Gbolo Ntobi. Mambo. Man, I need cables there, man. So apparently I got some other devices, and right now I'm swamped. I'm just surrounded by cables. I'm looking for a way to organize this. This needs to be charged. I apologize. We'll make it work somehow. Okay. Guys, please bear with me. We're adding another streaming platform, so just a little. By tomorrow, I'm sure I'll be able to sort some of the things I just noticed right now. All right, so back to this. Then it says to him, during the Biafran troops' presence in your territory, all political measures, statements, or decrees shall be subject to the approval in writing by myself or on my authority. In other words, if you're going to say anything in Yoruba land, you have to ask Enugu. Every decree, every statement, every proposal, anything you want to do in Yoruba land, you have to get authorization from Ojuku in Enugu. So essentially, you are liberating us to subjugate us. Number one, I don't even know who were under whose bondage we were. This is why it's very important for us to also read Papa's broadcast in August of 1967. We're going to read that much later. So then it says here, should our troops liberate Lagos, the government of Republic of Biafra reserves the right to appoint a military administrator for the territory. Such an administrator will remain in office until a merger of that territory with Yoruba land is effected by Biafran troops. In other words, they will determine the governor of Yoruba land and then the governor of the capital, that was Lagos, and everything will come from, you can guess, Biafra. But let me tell you what I found when I was reading this weekend. This promise that he made to Victor Banjo, he made that same promise to somebody else. The promise of making Victor Banjo the military administrator of the West. Let me read something to you. It's from the book that people taunt us with, which is important for you to buy, by the way. The book is called Why We Struck. Okay? Let me put the link. So for our friends on Twitter, I'm just going to spell it out because I don't know I'm going to be able to. Rotimi Global is the link to our group, to the channel on Telegram. All right, so I'm putting the link out there. In that channel, you'll find Rotimi books, and then you should be able to get some books there. All right, so please get this one. I want to read something interesting from. Type Sarakini. Umbo, Eka try count to Alambino. WhatsApp channel. No, it's not WhatsApp, it's Telegram. It's Telegram. Oh, there's somebody here on. Sorry, 1 second. Let me just type this link so that if you're here as well, you can take advantage of it. There's someone. People have been typing on Twitter. Thank you, guys. Shijuola Folabi, thanks for suggesting a book, The Yoruba, A New History. Oh, you've been reading it. Wow. Well done. Well done. Thank you for being here. Hope you're having a great time. People are reading. All hope is not lost. Oh, Abi, all hope is not lost, Noni. There's hope. All right. Walk with me. I'm reading Why We Struck by Adewale Ademoyiga. I'm going to come back to this book later, but let me just read this part. It says here, Major Okonkwo, Shaking para saying there. Let me just continue. It says Major Okonkwo, an Igbo medical officer of the Midwest Command, was appointed the military administrator of the Midwest. You know what? Let me go back a little just to tell you the drama that surrounded the appointment of the governor of the Midwest. But I'll be going ahead of myself. I'm moving too fast. Let's slow down. Major Okonkwo, an Igbo medical officer of the Midwest Command, was appointed the military administrator of the Midwest. Banjo was to muster his troops and proceed to Ibadan. Listen to this. I'm about to read something very, very important. Please pay attention. If Ibadan was taken, Ojuku reserved the right to name the military governor, and he had named Lieutenant Colonel Ademoyega, myself, tentatively for that post. If Lagos was taken, Ojuku reserved the right to name an administrator for that state, but no name was yet mentioned. He also reserved the right to give to Banjo such an appointment as he deemed fit. This man promised two people the same seat. Ojuku promised Victor Banjo the seat. I mean, you saw, we read it earlier. 1 second. It says, on the liberation of the Yoruba land, you, Victor Banjo, will be appointed military governor of that territory. He said that to him on 22nd August 1967. Then he says to Ademoyega, he sent a message to him, maybe through Chukwuka, I don't know. He says, if Ibadan was taken, Ojuku reserved the right to name the military governor, and he had named Lieutenant Colonel Ademoyega, in bracket, myself, tentatively for that post. Then if Lagos was taken, he reserved the right to name. Let me tell you something. Neither of them would have gotten it. He would have done to them what he did in the Midwest. What he did in the Midwest, we'll get back to that much later. I just want to mention that. Why did we read all of these things? To understand something. When Soyinka was talking with Victor Banjo in June of 67, Victor said, all those things is propaganda. Just this propaganda. They just give me propaganda. Biafra is not interested in the West. Nobody really cares about the West. He just wants the freedom of his people. By 22nd of August 1967, just about 2 months later, Ojuku is codifying a rumor as law and saying to him, I'm going to make you the governor, I'm going to run the space and stuff like that. Now, we're going to go back just a little bit. So this happened. Then he also sent him to a very, very important person. He says, Banjo left, my appearance in Enugu, Banjo pronounced, could not have been more fortuitous. The face of the war was about to change dramatically, and I was the only one who could transmit certain crucial messages to the other side, that is, to the leaders of the West, both military and civilian, especially to a certain Lieutenant Colonel Segun Obasanjo. It was there, right in Victor Banjo's command room, that I heard that name for the first time and was informed that Obasanjo had only recently been appointed commanding officer in charge of the Western Area Command, with his headquarters in Ibadan. Obasanjo had once served in a subordinate capacity. To him, his response to the message I would take, Banjo stressed, would be crucial to the changes that were being contemplated on the Biafran side. Thank you for the gift. Thank you. All right. So that was when he sent the message to Obasanjo. We'll not go straight to Obasanjo for now. We're going to take it step by step. Here, he was in Enugu. Then he sent a message to Obasanjo. What did Soyinka do when he got to Obasanjo's place? We'll talk about that. When he got to Ibadan, we'll discuss that later. But suffice it to say that he sent a message to Obasanjo and also to Yoruba leaders. At this point, he was still in Enugu. But there is another source. There's another book I want us to read at this point. We're going back to this one. This one has a lot of sweet things. You will like it. No, that's all. You will, we will rock it. So you will like it. So let's go to, excuse me. Let's go to Kolyomoto Shaw's book. The book is called Just Before Dawn by Kole Omotosho. It's going to be a long read, but please stay with me. For someone with ambition for political power, Ojuku was a brilliant tactician but a poor strategist. Throughout the period of the Civil War and even the events that led to it, he continuously narrowed his future options for immediate advantages, which were more often than not of limited use to his grand design. He embodied the Igbo man par excellence in his blunt refusal to recognize Gowon, his refusal to participate in the deliberations of the ad hoc Constitutional Committee, his rigid stand on Aburi, his rejection of Decree Number 8, the insistence on expelling non-Easterners from the East, and his treatment of Nnamdi Azikiwe. By the way, I've said it several times. If you see the way Ojuku treated Nnamdi Azikiwe, and you're a good person, you will have problem with him. Ejected him from the school he founded, essentially retired him from being the chancellor, or essentially just fired him. Right? And then called him an old goat. The great Zeke. Let's continue. All this marked him out as a strong character who seemed forever undermining himself and overestimating the true position of things. If there was one weakness he shared with his guest, Victor Banjo, a fellow officer in the army, it was a passion for politics. It was now just past midnight, and both of them sat in the uncluttered, elegant private sitting room, which Ojuku used for entertaining his companions throughout the night. He rarely went to bed before dawn, and he would then sleep until mid-morning. There were drinks on the table, and Ojuku relaxed with a packet of cigarettes. What I mean is this, Victor Banjo repeated, speaking in the cultivated speech rhythm of the Yoruba speaker of English. There is no need to de-emphasize the suffering of the Igbo to go beyond the East. Sorry, there is need to de-emphasize the suffering of the Igbo to go beyond the East and speak on behalf of all Nigerians here and everywhere. This is Biafra, my friend, replied Ojuku, smiling faintly. Remember that. I do remember. You should have seen me arriving at Enugu International Airport. Out comes this disembarkation card, an antique postcard on which I had to write all the typical immigration information. Name, nationality, port of embarkation, vessel, destination in Biafra, address overseas, reasons for visit. They were efficient. Still, and Victor Banjo paused to sip the cold beer he had poured for himself. We must enlarge the base of the struggle beyond the suffering of the Igbo. Let me just explain what they're saying here. The entire base of trying to secede, as far as Ojuku was concerned, was all about Igbo suffering. And I've said it several times, with all due respect to Igbo people, I know it's something you have heard over and over again, that the reason for Biafra was what happened in the north, and that people could not do anything else, just had to secede. And Ojuku was trying to fight for the people. I wish that were true, but it isn't. Ojuku had a plan to have his own nation long before people started suffering. By the way, the suffering is terrible, but Ojuku's idea of having a separate nation is a product of his own ambition. And just in case you don't know this, please read Ojuku's Rebellion and World Opinion by Nebo Graham Douglas, who was a former Attorney General, was Attorney General to Ojuku in the Eastern Region government. By the way, if you may not be able to find the hard copy, so it's one of those rare books that we have put in the Telegram channel. So please check it out. Again, Rotimi Global, you'll find it in the library section. If you're able to, please read it. You discover the evolution of Ojuku's ambition. What Victor Banjo was saying here is that we've got to go beyond the suffering of the Igbo. In other words, he's trying to make it more, it's about the person oppressing all of us, not just you suffering. Let's make it bigger than you. Let's talk about what minorities are going through. Let's talk about what other people are going through, but Ojuku didn't really care about that. Please share the Telegram channel. We already shared. Please scroll up. Rotimi Global, please. Please, anyone here, please, if you know the channel, please let me type it so that people will be able to access it on Telegram. Sorry, on TikTok, but I typed it earlier, and on YouTube as well. Thank you. If nobody types it, I promise I'll pause at some point and I'll type it. But please, if you know it, please type it. Redomi Global. T.me/Redomi Global. Victor, I don't know if you know how much people have suffered. You have seen photographs, films from our Ministry of Information. You need to see these people. People with names and children and next of kin and ambitions for the future. Pictures and newspaper features cannot show the extent of the brutality practiced on the Igbo in the north. How does one ignore that? In his mind, Ojuku wondered if Victor Banjo could be of use to him if this was his attitude. Thank you, Method Man. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Yet he knew that Victor Banjo could not simply go back to the other side without incurring danger to himself. We're going to jump from... Okay, let's just continue. Thus, it was in his interest to stay on the side of Biafra. We must not forget the feelings of the minorities, Banjo continued. They are of importance in the way this whole thing will turn out. Don't talk to me about minorities, Ojuku said, waving aside the issue. Victor Banjo could not believe that someone with Ojuku's intelligence could not recognize that the case of the Igbo must be a base to launch forward for the rest of the country. Was this a repeat of Zik of Africa, Zik of Nigeria, Zik of Eastern Region, Zik of Onitsha, and just finally ordinary Zik? What a waste of talent. I'm going to jump to the part where they're talking about his movement. Essentially, they talked about his instructions. So it says here, the night dragged by and they seemed to be getting nowhere. From time to time, someone would drift in and then out. Ojuku would excuse himself and go to speak to someone at the entrance to the sitting room and then come back. Both of them had looked forward to this encounter, but they seemed to be stuck, each in his own position. I do not make light of the suffering of the Igbo. I think it is a shame that we all must bear for a long time in our history. But that should be the beginning of our struggle rather than the end. That is my position. Let us see what is possible at every point. Use it and then go on. That is the only way to do things. For instance, your attitude to the old politicians is simply not good enough. We need them and they can be used and then disposed of. Then you do not know them, Ojuku interjected. Once you bring them in, you cannot get rid of them that easily. I don't want any of them around me. There was a long silence. Then Victor Banjo suddenly asked, what are my instructions for the Midwest? Your target is Lagos via Benin and Ibadan, Ojuku said warmly, as if he was now in an area of certainty. The Midwest thing was his brainchild and the simplicity of it astounded him. Once the idea occurred to him, the execution of it seemed so simple he could not understand how nobody else had thought of it. It is absolutely compulsory that you move fast. Surprise is the only weapon we have. Go to Lagos. Everything is arranged. You leave tomorrow night. How do you contact your people in Ibadan? Through Wole Soyinka, the playwright. You know him? Ojuku responds, yes, I do. Yes. And Victor Banjo says, he's to make contact. There should be no problem. That statement did not represent what Victor Banjo felt in his guts. It was not going to be easy. He was going to Yoruba land as what? Conqueror in the name of the Igbo, in the name of Ojuku. What role could he apportion to them in Biafra? How could he, in the short period available to him, convince his people that his aims, listen to this, his aims and those of Ojuku were miles apart and would continue to be so for quite some time? That what put them together was the need to break the status quo and redistribute power in the nation. This was what the issue was. Anyway, let's read Mumbo. Victor, Ojuku said, you are dozing. Why don't you go and rest for now and get ready for this major work? I wasn't dozing really, just thinking. All the same, go and sleep and rest yourself. Everything is in order for your move tomorrow. On August 9, 1967, Victor Banjo led Biafran forces into the Midwest and threatened the western states and Lagos. Panic spread throughout the country. As soon as they got to Benin, Banjo contacted Wole Soyinka through a telephone number in the University of Ibadan. He gave him the names of some military personnel he should see and asked him to confirm their support for his move into the West. Of these people, the most important was Olusegun Obasanjo, commander of the Nigerian forces in the West. Wole contacted Obasanjo. We're going to come back to what Wole said to Obasanjo. 1 second. Excuse me. So it says here, Wole Soyinka contacted Obasanjo and they talked on the move, drifting through the silence of Ibadan. As soon as Obasanjo dropped Wole Soyinka off at the petrol station where he had picked him up earlier that night, he contacted Gowon to report that it had been proposed that he let Victor Banjo into the Western region. Wole Soyinka was later picked up and incarcerated for the duration of the civil war. I want to quickly expand on that, and then we'll come back to this. We're going to expand on that for just a bit, then we'll come back to what happened in the Midwest. So let's talk about Wole Soyinka and Olusegun, their meeting and what came out of that. We're going to read You Must Set Forth at Dawn, and then we'll read My Command. Why are we doing this? Because we're trying to understand what really happened. And that way, thank God we have all the sources, so we're able to understand it better. Was there any point OBJ was a pro-Yoruba? Would he have been a pro-Yoruba if he had allowed Victor Banjo to come in? Would that be pro-Yoruba? Because Yoruba people were... You know what? It's an important question. But I'm not going to answer it the way you think I should. Mombo. I'll first read something from this book. Just to answer that question, then we'll move on. Okay? This book is called Colonel Victor Banjo, A Revolutionary Betrayed by Niya Borishade. It says here, the leaders in the Southwest were also holding meetings. Excuse me. The leaders in the Southwest were also holding meetings to appraise the situation on the roles to play in the tumultuous... Sorry. Oh boy. Ajamomi. Amabinu. All right. The leaders in the Southwest were also holding meetings to appraise the situation on the roles to play in the tumultuous activities precipitating the war. They were civilians, though they saw Banjo as a rallying point for military action that could defend and protect them from the Northern Army. When the leaders in the Southwest found that Banjo had been released, they sent a delegation to his sister to persuade him to return and fight for the Southwest. They recognized that Banjo was a thoroughbred revolutionary and the Southwest needed him to provide leadership in their military arm. It was hoped that in the event of war, Yoruba would not be defenseless. This was a brilliant tactical move, and the four regions would have gone their different ways. Banjo could have been happy to help his people as well. However, before that time, he was already supervising most of the commanders and senior officers of the Republic of Biafra. This did not go